Mavericks. Certainly going to preview more of that tonight here throughout the show. Also, the Patriots and their OTAs. There's some other stuff. Caitlin Clark, baseball news as well. Everything on the board tonight. And you can join us right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. But also, you can join us on YouTube. Just go to youtube.com and then just search 98.5 The Sports Hub. You can join the chat right there. And, of course, you can call the show at 617-779-0985. And there you go. You heard it. Kristaps Porzingis will be ready to go. Or so he says. He's 100% ready for game one. And that is somewhat the news of the day here when it comes to this series. Right? We've brought up matchups. Last night I mentioned Missoula ball is exactly how the Celtics are going to win the championship this year. That's how they're going to do it. They're going to outshoot the Mavericks, who have really just, trickled down their numbers when it comes to three-point shots and attempts. But that's where Kristaps Porzingis can make more of a difference in this series. I mentioned a couple of the numbers here, but the Celtics in the playoffs have been the 11th ranked team as far as points in the post. 11th in the playoffs. But during the regular season, they were number one, and that was with Kristaps Porzingis in the lineup. He can help them out defensively as well and on the pick and roll. And we still don't know yet how he's going to look, but he will be ready to go. I've had a few questions regarding Porzingis. I think the ultimate answer here is he should start. I think we all agree when he's amongst that group of five with Al Horford coming off the bench, the Celtics are absolutely at their best. But I pose the question, the way the Celtics have been playing, is it maybe of interest for him to come off the bench? And I know some people are probably driving off the road like, no way, Joe. But I wonder if it's still okay if Al Horford stayed in the starting lineup and Porzingis got his minutes coming off the bench, and they can really monitor those minutes. Maybe it's easy to do that as a starter. It's just something I wanted to bring to the table tonight. I think he will start. He probably should start, and you should get a good feeling of what he looks like. But I think about momentum, right? I think about how this team has played in first and second games. Now, granted, in the previous series, they had to hit a shot to go into overtime to win. That all happened. But they have struggled in game twos. They took care of business against the Pacers, sweeping that series, and, of course, did it without Porzingis. But I think about that a little bit when it comes to the big man. And in his one game against the Pacers this year, he was outstanding. Hit threes, just got a ton of shots early on. He can make an impact, no doubt about it. Do they need Porzingis to win? I'm still going to sit here and say no. And that's why I just posed the question. Is it just he's in there, he's playing center, and they're ready to go? And they're going to rock and roll with the style that they play? Because, he is someone that can knock down threes. He is a threat in that capacity. He's also a threat when it comes to playing defense and being a rim protector. Something the Celtics have given up a little bit. So if you want to find some critical areas, scoring in the post and defending in the post. What are some of the things that Dallas is great at? Scoring inside the post with their bigs. I'm just throwing it out there. He's probably going to start. But have you considered at all him managing his minutes off the bench? We'll start there at 617-779-0985. Also, is he healthy? I know everybody at this time of year is dealing with something, and he certainly was dealing with something that happened back on April 29th. And today when they asked him, you heard it in the clip coming back, is he 100%? He said, yeah. But is he? And I know that he said all the right things today. A couple of the other things that I thought that stood out to me that he said, he's been ready for this. He said he wants this one. Just a couple of the quotes. And his lone game versus the Mavs this year, 24 points, 8 of 14. He went 4 of 8 from 3 with 6 rebounds and 2 assists. He can be instrumental to this team throughout this finals, no doubt about it. And they talked about some of the competitive scrimmages that he's had and says he's ready to go. I just asked the question. The way that starting five is played through 3 rounds without Porzingis, do they try to manage him in a different way? And we'll lead it off there tonight at 617-779-0985. Also, let's not forget, Kristaps Porzingis once played for Dallas, once played with Luka Doncic. Things didn't work out. I referenced a story from a while back. He was on a podcast where he said outside of being on the court, things were great with Luka Doncic. He said all the problems with Doncic were on the court. And, you know, you could say a lot of that about this Celtics group, right? Tatum and Brown, they had Kyrie Irving. They had Gordon Hayward. They had Kemba Walker. Like, they brought in other all-stars to go along with this young group. It didn't work out. Either did Marcus Smart and Robert Williams and all that. They had to go out and get established veterans like Porzingis and like Drew Holiday. And even the players, like I mentioned Malcolm Brogdon and guys like that, they somewhat called out Missoula last year. They're no longer here. All those little things, no longer here, moves that they made. Dallas also made a lot of moves around their superstar. And I wanted to get into that tonight as well, on how both of these franchises have really built around their superstars. And this time it's worked. Right? You hear it every year. Who wants to play with Joel Embiid? Where's LeBron James going to go? What's Kevin Durant's future? Where's Chris Paul going to play next? You hear all that stuff. James Harden, right? Well, the Celtics got it right, and the Dallas Mavericks have gotten it right. So I wanted to just get into that a little bit. We got the Porzingis stuff on the table, and let's not forget OTAs. A bunch of stuff came out today, and we'll do a little bit more Patriots as we're gearing up for Game 1 of the NBA Finals this Thursday night, of course, right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. And just to give you a little bit of a programming note, we will have extensive coverage until 7:30 on Thursday night. And then we'll have you until 1 a.m. I'll be joined by Cerrone Battle. Skaz will be here as well. So we are with you all finals long here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. We'll get into more of the matchup coming up next right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray.
everywhere. At least that's what I've been told. So I think we're having one of those issues here tonight. So get it together, will ya? Anyways, the Celtics without Kristaps Porzingis this playoff, ho-hum, they've been fine. They've been just fine without him. They're even better with him. And I posed the question about starting off the bench. I get it. He'll probably start. And it's probably crazy to even have the discussion. But you know what? We've had so many days now to talk about this thing. I'm starting to go crazy about it. But I do wonder about his minutes. How many minutes can he give? Is he better off coming off as that next player off the bench to help Al Horford? Is it better to maybe give a different look when he's in the game later? I don't know. I'm spitballing at this point. But I do think he's best with this group because of how he can space the floor. So I think he'll start. I just wanted to bring up the potential of him potentially coming off the bench or playing a different role. But I did want to really get into just some of the changes here. And, of course, I can't get on the internet. But there's a bunch of things that I wanted to get into regarding this series and just regarding these two teams and how they've built around their stars, right? So they've built Luka Doncic has played with so many different stars, but so has in the Celtics as well. And a couple of different plans, right? Jason Kidd's in there. They've had different coaches before. They couldn't get it done with a championship coach. But just going back to Dallas, right? Looking at their past, when they went to the playoffs in 2022, some of the players that they had on their team at that point, Jalen Brunson, like the guy's a stud. You watch him. You see what he's doing in New York. Luka Doncic could have won with that guy. Spencer Dinwiddie is a nice piece. He's a nice scorer around the league. Like Dorian Finney-Smith was another guy they had. But they moved on. Davis Bertans was a guy they had, right? So you look at that team, they've upgraded so much since that 2022 playoff team. They've added Kyrie Irving. Derek Jones signed in the offseason. They traded for P.J. Washington. At the deadline, they get Gafford. Lively, they draft. They kept around Tim Hardaway. They brought Tim Hardaway Jr. in. Josh Green comes in. They keep Max Kleber. They have Dwight Powell on their team. They blew up their roster around Doncic. They overhauled their point guard position, moving on from Jaylen Brown and the rest of those guards in there and brought in Kyrie Irving. And they did it before the trade deadline, and it worked. They missed the playoffs last year. And something happened at the end of the season. Like they lost so they could not give up a top 10 pick or whatever it was. It was all crazy in there. But you look at P.J. Washington, he's their third scorer now. That's who they're depending on to really give, more of an offensive punch. And he averaged almost 14 points per game. And Gafford's another guy that can do things in the backcourt. We mentioned Lively. And Williams, the Celtics wanted him this offseason. Derek Jones. They wanted him this offseason. He was with the Bulls last year and almost signed with Boston and ended up signing in Dallas. But since the trade deadline of this year, Dallas is 36-14. Right? They just extended Harrison today, their general manager who made these moves. So their overhaul has them in the NBA Finals. And a couple of big hits, right? P.J. Washington, Gafford, those guys worked out. But the Celtics had moves that worked out as well. The number one was removing Marcus Smart from the situation. And I want to bring you back to the 2022 playoffs. Okay? Marcus Smart was a part of that group. Grant Williams was a part of that group. Robert Williams and Daniel Tice. All right, that was the team. Well, they bring in Derek White. They get him in a trade. They get Drew Holiday in the mix. Kristaps Porzingis they get. They still have Pritchard hanging around. Sam Hauser is now playing minutes and Luke Cornett. But aside from the Grant Williams departure and Marcus Smart moving on, they made simply 3 moves, 4 players off the roster to gain essentially 2 All-Stars. Just when you look at the two teams, they built around their star players. And here they are now in the NBA Finals. The road for Dallas was difficult. It's going to continue to be difficult playing in the Western Conference year in and year out. So that's why in some way I think that the pressure really is on Dallas. Now, Boston, of course, is a huge favorite. If they lost this, it would be of epic proportions when it comes to the betting lines. It'd be a huge upset if something happened to this team and happened to lose this matchup. I wanted to mention a couple of other things. When the Celtics wanted to move on from Kyrie Irving at the end, just before they ended up just let his contract run out, they almost traded for Kristaps Porzingis. They almost traded Kyrie Irving for Kristaps Porzingis. And I thought that was somewhat interesting. The Celtics have always had their eye on Kristaps Porzingis. I always thought it was Kevin Love. Like, I always thought Kevin Love would probably be a guy that, has always been linked to the Celtics, and at some point, that's somebody they would bring in here. No, in the end, it was Kristaps Porzingis. That was the guy that they brought in, but that would have been interesting, huh? If they ended up making that move, maybe this whole Kyrie thing would have been a lot better. So your thoughts at 617-779-0985. I did want to get into some Patriot stuff coming up in just a little bit. Skaz, I don't have a call screener, but while I got you here, what do you think about the two teams with their overhaul and making moves around their superstar and here now in the NBA Finals?
Yeah, I think it's kind of it's good, right? Like guys they drafted, the Celtics have Tatum and Brown. They built around them. Luka, obviously the premier superstar in Dallas. They tried the Porzingis thing. They tried Brunson. It didn't work. I think we've seen sometimes where teams are quick to abandon these guys if it doesn't work out. And Dallas and the Celtics, to their credit, have been, fans might not think so, but I think they've been more patient, let these guys kind of grow into it. It's Tatum and Brown's team now. Obviously it was always Luka's team. But yeah, I'm a huge fan of, the homegrown drafted guys, Tatum and Brown. It's their team. Like, it just kind of feels different than when you buy a championship or and people will say the Celtics are doing that with Porzingis and Holiday and stuff like that. But the premier players on this team were drafted by the Celtics. And as a fan, that's something that I enjoy more than, going out and getting a Kevin Durant or whatever it is, the Yankees getting Juan Soto, not to cross sports, but just stuff like that. So yeah, when the guy on your team is your superstar that you drafted, I think that's like a good thing for the NBA instead of these guys just bouncing around from team to team trying to chase rings or go the easiest route. And people say, yeah, the Celtics have the easiest route this year, but they earned that. Like, they were the best team in the league. They've had these guys. Brad Stevens has done a masterful job of creating this roster, and now you're seeing it pay dividends. So yeah, I think it's an interesting kind of dynamic from the Durant and the LeBron Miami teams and stuff like that. And I'm sure there'll be some comparisons because the Celtics are viewed as a super team, and I'm watching Joe get very frustrated at his computer right now. But yeah, I think it's more of a, for fans, I enjoy this more than the LeBron super team or the Warriors getting KD. I think it's better for the NBA when this happens.
I like the changeover, right? People were just going to expect the Nuggets to go back. And we got a little bit of changeover. But the Celtics have been there. It's 2 out of 3 years now for them. So I don't have a call screener. So, Skaz, will you let me know who's on the line?
We got Thomas on line 1. I'll bring him up.
Thomas, line 1. How are you, sir?
Hey, Joe. Just to comment on something you said earlier. I actually, my opinion, think Porzingis should come off the bench for game 1 just to kind of get his legs out, underneath him. And then the rest of the series he should start because Horford's much better when he's rested and coming off fresh and not playing a ton of minutes.
So my whole take on it is I think that him spreading the floor is better for the guys that he's working with, which will complement everybody else as a starter. But I just look at it, everyone's rested, right? They've had how many days off in a row now? So I just feel like if you want to ease them in, coming off the bench might not be the worst idea.
Yeah, definitely, at least for the first game.
All right, man. Appreciate you. So I'm not crazy.
Have a good one.
Thanks, buddy. You don't agree with me, guys. You think you throw them right in there with the guys and you just, you roll the balls out.
Yeah, I think you're the best team when Porzingis is starting. If he's ready to go game 1, he should be starting.
All right. Well, we're going to get into the Patriots coming up a little bit. Oh, do we have more calls?
We got Benny in Oxford online, too.
Benny, how you doing?
Hey, Cardi Joe, what's good, man?
With Cardi Joe. Yes, how are you?
Listen, don't overthink this. Don't, what's the best way to put it? Don't Jim Montgomery of last year's Boston Bruins playoff run this. KP's healthy. He's starting. You put him in the starting lineup. You just don't get away from what's worked all year, for this team. They're the best starting five, best team all season. You don't change it now. And bring Horford back off the bench because he works well with the bench guys, man. Just put everybody back in their original roles, and you keep destroying teams the way you've been destroying all year. I just don't think you overthink this. Don't overcoach. You know what I mean?
I'm trying not to. But it's Coach Joe, and we've talked about every topic possible at this point.
Yeah.
So I'm
long break.
I'm throwing this one into the mix as well. So
okay. Can I also say how happy I am? I'm pretty pumped that they're doing these road games.
Yeah, so
at the arena?
At the Garden, TD Garden. They're going to be $18 tickets. I mean, $18 parking. You can't beat that in Boston, man. Under $40 to watch a game in.
It's a night out in Boston. I mean, why not? Like you said, for less than $40, I think it's perfect. I don't know why they haven't been doing this.
I'd get the rafters seats. I don't know if you've been up to the rafters, but you can walk around, get different views up there. That'd be a hell of a night to just kind of kick around.
Yeah, it's a smart idea, man. I wish the Bruins did it too. I know obviously with the scheduling with the Celtics, I don't know how well they could have done that, but
I'm in on it. Like, trust me, I like to go out. You know what I mean? I'll probably, but I think it's cool that. What if it is the closeout? I think you'd like to be there, right?
Yeah, I'm with you.
So, all right, Benny.
I'm with you.
Appreciate you, my man.
Thank you, guys.
All right, we got the Celtics on the board. We're going to get into a little bit of Patriot stuff. And, you may have seen, like, memes before or, like, videos of guys who just get frustrated with their computer. So I broke one. Well, I didn't break it. It just doesn't work anymore. And then I went to another computer, and it doesn't have access to what we need. So I'm going to try a third computer. How do I look over there? I'm not on the YouTube chat either. Things are good, Kevin, our intern back there? All right. Well, we're here until 11 o'clock tonight. Who knows what's going to happen? Oh, and OTAs. Oh, wow. Where was Bailey Zappi today? What happened to Bailey? All I want to know is what happened to Zappi. We'll tell you in Sports Hub Headlines.
Sports Hub Headlines.
All right, Kristaps Porzingis ready to go for Game 1. He's been going through some intense scrimmages. And says he is ready to go for Game 1, which is Thursday night, right here on 98.5, the Sports Hub. Some NFL news today. Christian McCaffrey signs an extension with the 49ers, essentially going to get $20 million per season. That's pretty good. Red Sox hosting the Braves over at Fenway Park. Of course, tomorrow night, you will see the return of Chris Sale. Right now, no score in the top of the second inning. And, well, Patriots OTAs continued today. Bailey Zappi threw passes behind Drake May and Jacoby Brissett. Headlines, they are brought to you by Cape Cod Lumber and CCL Homescapes. 100% employee owned. Go to your independent lumber yard. Partner with CCL and CCL Homescapes for all your building needs right in Abington. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update in 30 minutes.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
Save on quality protein at Whole Foods Market. Get no antibiotics ever air-chilled boneless skinless chicken thighs for $4.99 per pound with Prime through June 4th. Fire up the grill for the ultimate smoky flavor. While supplies last, shop store online. Terms apply.
To make the playoffs in this town, you have to be better than the best. Unstoppable, passionate. It's you right through the night.
I actually spoke with women today.
On the Sports Hub.
Beautiful day here in Foxborough. Patriots practice wrapped up around 2 o'clock, and the top storyline was Drake May, for the first time, took repetitions immediately after Jacoby Brissett. In the past 2 weeks when reporters were present, it was always Bailey Zappi coming in. And this was a red zone practice, and the space gets tight, as we know, in the red zone, and the defense clearly dominated the day. And after practice, Drake May said there were some passes he'd obviously like to have back. One of them we saw in the red zone, an interception. It looked like running back Antonio Gibson maybe stopped his route, maybe a little bit of a miscommunication, man zone type thing. And Kyle Duggar dove for a short pass from Drake May, and another pass from May in an 11-on-11 drill. I sailed it to an open Juju Smith-Schuster, and Caleb Ford Dement, the undrafted rookie corner, picked it off. But May did have some other passes of note. One, a touchdown to KJ Osborne, the wide receiver, in a 7-on-7 red zone drill. So we heard from Gerard Mayo before practice. He said he's pleased with the development of Drake May. Said you'd like it to be a straight line going up, but obviously it's going to be up and down. We heard from Alex Van Pelt, the offensive coordinator. He said one thing that surprised him about Drake May early is how quickly he's adapted to the footwork that they've been drilling into him. So all in all, a great day here in Foxborough. Defense wins the day, but Drake May rising up, maybe that depth chart, the story of the day.
Right there. A lot of people watching their television. I've moved chairs again. So we right now we can we'll figure it out, everybody. This is what we do here on the night show. That was Mike Reese, and I keep using the mouse for that, and it's not for that. Mike Reese telling you about OTAs today. We're going to talk to Evan Lazar coming up in just a little bit from Patriots.com, and he'll give you his thoughts on what he saw today over at Gillette Stadium and during camp. But, when I look at this Patriots team, I don't think they're going to be good at all. I've also bet they'll have the worst record in the NFL this year. Number one, I don't trust Gerard Mayo. It's not that I don't know. He is the super unknown, to reference a Soundgarden album. Right? He is the super unknown. Is he a good coach? Was he the guy that was calling the plays? Is he the guy that was running the meetings? I wonder. And then the quarterback situation, and if you want the numbers from today, Patriots quarterbacks on an 11-on-11, Jacoby Brissett was 3 of 12. Drake May went 4 of 7 with 2 interceptions, and Bailey Zappi went 3 for 4. Now, what's different here is originally Brissett and Zappi were the ones getting the reps in that order. Today, it was Drake May getting the reps above Zappi. So that was on the 11-on-11s. In the 7-on-7 drills, Brissett went 6 of 9, May went 3 of 4, and Joe Milton saw some action today. He went 2 of 4. Red zone drills, the defense dominated. And that's one of the things I've heard about camp so far, is that the wide receivers are getting little to no separation. Now, they were without Kendrick Bourne today. I think there was a couple others that they were without, but that's something to look at right away, is the defense is already ahead of the offense, and the offense continues to not get separation. One player who did stand out, though, when it comes to the offense and wide receivers was Demario Douglas. They said he couldn't be stopped. Whether it was 11-on-11, 7-on-7s, the defense just had trouble stopping him today. So, wasn't always competitive for Drake May. He had some solid reps, but other than that, he had interceptions. That was the write-up I read from Mark Daniels today regarding that. But there was a write-up from Sports Illustrated. And what they do is they go to all 32 teams in 32 days. And their headline regarding the Patriots is 32 NFL teams, 32 days. It's all about Gerard Mayo and Drake May in New England. The Patriots coach and quarterback could have a tough road ahead with roster concerns on the offensive line and skill positions. And it just brings up some of the struggles. The Patriots are 32nd in the NFL. Like, they're, in some opinion, and even Vegas' opinion, the worst team in the NFL. That's where they've gone. They've lost their coach, quarterback, offensive coordinator, you name it. They've changed the whole thing. and people think they're going to be worse. So after going from 2 decades of excellent to winning, and then only 4 games last year that they won, Robert Kraft fired Bill Belichick and turned to Gerard Mayo. They didn't plan on handing the starting job to number 3 pick overall, so they brought in Jacoby Brissett. Whether it's Mayo or Brissett, the Patriots offense could have an uphill battle with roster concerns at the skill positions and on the offensive line. How many years now have you heard the Patriots having offensive issues on the line and at receiver? It's getting pretty annoying when you see money going around everywhere to wide receivers in the league. Why do you think CeeDee Lamb's holding out today? Why should he even go to mandatory camp when every single other wide receiver that's up is getting paid? I don't blame CeeDee there. They spent no money. They didn't upgrade that team either. If he wants to hold out, good on CeeDee Lamb. Like, the Cowboys are nobody not to pay him, by the way. And it's the same thing when it comes to the Patriots. You can't look off DeAndre Hopkins one season and Calvin Ridley in the next. And for the people who say, oh, you don't want to pay a wide receiver that much money, well, look how much money everyone else is getting now. I mean, the running backs are getting $20 million a season when Christian McCaffrey signed an extension today. So the big question mark from Sports Illustrated is the Patriots are going to need to decide whether it's worth it to trot out Drake May with the poor supporting cast, or Brissett, or even Bailey Zappi for that matter. So that's one of the reasons why they have the Patriots as one of the worst teams in the NFL. The Patriots defense, on the other hand, making some little bit of changes, right? Covington's now their defensive coordinator. They should get Matthew Judon back. They locked up Christian Barmore. Christian Gonzalez is going to be healthy. Kyle Duggar is going to be one of their leaders on defense. So you should expect them to at least be in some games. But they listed their biggest gamble this offseason. It's firing Bill Belichick and hiring hiring Gerard Mayo, Yes, that is a huge gamble. They had to move on from Belichick. They had to. Did they have to gamble on Mayo? Well, they had some sort of contract, according to reports, that would have been a $10 million buyout. That's why he's here. But there's a new vibe, right? They're changing things. They took down anything that you've seen from some of these Super Bowl teams. Now they're doing all sorts of different types of reps. It's no secret Kraft and Belichick had a rocky relationship, says Sports Illustrated. And it was a delicate one. It talks about some of the tough stretches they'll have this season, weeks 1 through 6. Patriots underdogs in every game this season. Every one of them. First 6 weeks, Cincinnati on the road, Seattle at home, then a primetime game against Aaron Rodgers and the Jets. They'll play San Francisco. They'll return home and take on Miami. And then the Texans. They're all loaded. Doesn't get any easier. They get Jacksonville and London week 7. I want people to think about this one. The first 7 weeks of the season, if they go 0-7, 1-6, any of those, Drake May should be starting after those 7 games. I don't care about the supporting staff, the line, or whatever. You start 0-7, 1-6, 2-5. Time to make the change. Like, the team is predicted to be the worst in the NFL. They're projected to have the number 1 pick next year in the draft. We all went crazy about having the number 3 pick. Is this how this is going to be built? Multiple first-round picks? Yep, you got your quarterback. You're working on your line. You still don't have playmakers on offense. They should have done that through free agency and then gone back to the draft. Maybe they'll hit on Jalen Polk. Maybe they'll hit on Baker or one of these guys, or even Demario Douglas for that matter. Maybe they feel that way. I'll tell you right now, Sports Illustrated, Vegas, all the sports books, and even me, I think they're going to be the worst team in the NFL this year, and I've bet on it at plus 325. We'll have more on the OTAs. What else happened down there today? I'll talk to Evan Lazar coming up in just a little bit at 617-779-0985. Speaking of betting, the hell is going on with people betting on their own sport? I wanted to have a little fun with this. Probably get an article for the website. I think I can get 300 words out of this one. Some of the worst bettors of all time. 617-779-0985. And don't give us anyone you know. I want sports athletes, awful bettors.
These guys make me feel so much better.
Like, I'm a degenerate. You're a degenerate? I just called you a degenerate.
No, it's not wrong if it's true, Joe.
But, I mean, these guys are real degenerates, and they suck at it.
Like, almost impressively bad. Like, doing the math, it is so hard to be as bad at gambling as these guys are.
So we'll create a list, write an article about it. We'll get. I made my top 10 already. Trying to see if anyone didn't make the list. By the way, anyone who bet against the 1986 Celtics, Pete Rose, you're on that list, baby. We'll get into that coming up on the other side. I'm Joe Murray. You're listening to 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You know what? You just made the list!
Don't go anywhere. Call them the Joe Murray pre-party. It's Felger and Maz afternoons right now. Joe Murray on the Sports Hub.
It's a very personal, very important thing. Hell, it's a family motto. Are you ready, Jerry?
I'm ready.
Just want to make sure you're ready, brother. Here it is. Show me the money. Jerry, does that make you feel good just to say that? Say it with me one time, Jerry.
Show you the money.
Oh, no, you can do better than that, Jerry. I want you to say it what you would mean it, brother. Hey, I got Bob Sugar on the other line. I better hear you say it.
Yeah, no. Show you the money.
Not show you. Show me the money.
Show me the money.
Yeah. Louder.
Show me the money.
That's it, brother, but you got to yell at me.
Show me the money.
I need to feel you, Jerry.
Show me the money.
Jerry, you better yell. Show me the money.
It's worst. And he lied about it and bet on his own team. Jonte Porter. Yeah, let's start a nice little Discord channel and talk about our betting. You play in the NBA, you idiot. Now, I threw Michael Jordan on the list. But again, Michael Jordan probably lost a lot of money, but then gained a lot of money after buying the Charlotte Hornets and then selling it. So he technically won. Technically. I'll throw Ohtani on the list because you know what? He hasn't been caught yet. How about Rick Tocchet? What about Gretzky's wife? I don't know. Is Jaromir Jagr one? I don't know. What's the list? Is there a top 10 list? Because right now, these guys that I've just mentioned, a lot of these guys are just stupid. Oh, the temptation. Right? If I had, and I mean this, if I had a multi-million-dollar job, the bankroll boy would be no more. I'd be drinking on my little island with, when you get that nice drink with the little umbrella in it? That's me. That would be me. I don't need to chase the next dollar. These guys, though, stupid. Take a couple of calls here because I think it's worth it. I'm going to try this. Let's see if it works. Ryan is in South Boston.
Joe, first of all, love you. You're like what Jim Murray used to be before Felger and Maz turned him bad. I was thinking this, and I know this is crazy, but what about, everyone's expecting us to boo Kyrie. Kyrie's expecting us to boo Kyrie. Like, if we're a smart crowd, what if we, cheer him on, call for his name, just to totally throw him off?
Oh, yeah?
Of his game.
You think that's going to throw him off?
I mean, I don't think booing him will. I think if we're, cheering Kyrie, he's going to be like, what's going on right now? Like, what are these people doing?
You think he's thinking about it like that?
I think he's thinking about it as he is fighting the good fight. And if we're booing him and he's playing well, he's doing his job. When do you most get thrown off in life? You get most thrown off in life when you're totally blindsided. And I think if we were to cheer for, I mean, I know this isn't going to happen, but I think that's the way to go.
Thank you. Sorry, I got a new phone thing over here, so we're going to see how it works tonight. I've said this a couple of times, so I'm sorry if you haven't heard it yet, but I think that if you chirp Kyrie, it's going to motivate Luka. Just like when you chirp Draymond Green, you woke up Steph Curry. So, yeah, you'll chirp him. You'll get on him. You'll do all that stuff. Be clean. Keep it clean. But is there a strategy there? No. You go in there, you boo everybody. It's the finals. You don't let anybody off the hook. I'm booing everybody. Hey, I know who Powell is. He bought a car for my friend. He plays for Dallas. You know what? Boo! Boo that man. Luke in the car. Hey, Luke.
Hey, Joe, what's going on? I just wanted to get my take on your worst gamblers. I think Michael Jordan's the worst celebrity gambler ever, to be honest. Obviously, there's all the stories we know in the media. I would gamble on anything, but I've heard some things on the golf course. How this guy will just go out there, be like, 10 in his unit. He's talking 10K on closest to the pin. He'll just shank one left. little move. You know what I mean?
Yeah, guess what? He bought the Charlotte Hornets at a really low price. And then he just cashed in and made $1 billion or something. Michael Jordan's doing just fine. It's funny. Did you see Tiger Woods at the poker table the other night?
Oh, yeah.
Somebody took a photo of just him at the poker table. I thought that was funny. Did I miss any on my list? I did. I said both names that have been mentioned already. So I just...
Did you say Yager?
I did.
Okay.
I did. Well, I did because I gave you credit for that.
There we go. Yeah. No, but I thought your list was very good. Some of those I forgot about too, like Rick Tocchet. I was not aware of that whole thing.
Oh, yeah. I mean, Wayne Gretzky's wife used to bet $250,000 on the Super Bowl coin toss. Imagine that kind of stroke on a coin toss, bro. That's real.
Isn't that the dream to just have that much disposable income though? It's a coin toss, throw $250 on it.
Well, maybe we'll have more. Maybe we'll get 300 words out of that one and put it on the site and have some fun with it. 617-779-0985. I'm Joe Mario. Get a look at the headlines and then more on the Celtics and Mavs and Patriots OTAs. What else happened there today? We'll get to that coming up next here on the Sports Hub.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, the road to Banner 18. This is the flagship station of the Boston Celtics.
The Boston Celtics swarm the floor.
WBZFM and HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Easily Media Group Station. Sports Hub headlines.
All right, Kristaps Porzingis says he's ready to go for Game 1. He's gone through some extensive scrimmages and, Game 1 Thursday night over at TD Garden. And, of course, the TD Garden fans will have a chance to attend the road games for just $18. Also, the cool thing about that, parking. Also, only $18, of course, as they're going for Banner 18. Red Sox are in action right now over at Fenway Park, hosting the Braves. And right now there is Braves lead 2-1. Cutter Crawford on the mound, 3 2/3, 4 strikeouts so far in this one. NFL news today: Christian McCaffrey signed an extension with San Francisco, guaranteed $19 million per season. OTAs for the Patriots also continued today. We'll get into a little bit of the quarterbacks, how they did, how the defense looked, and also they were working on the new kickoff rules. We'll tell you how those worked out as well. Headlines, they are brought to you by Awaken 180 Weight Loss. Make a pledge not to buy bigger shorts this summer. Fit in the last year shorts or even last decade shorts in just weeks with Awaken 180 Weight Loss. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update in 30 minutes.
If you've got the app, you've got Spirited Sports Talk.
I have one ear and I got that.
98.5, the Sports Hub.
How would you describe how Alex, Ben, and TC, deal with the quarterbacks? Is there a pecking order? Is there someone who has more of a heavier hand? How is that working?
Yeah, 100% AVP, and this is common around the league with offensive coordinators. Usually offensive coordinators coach the starting quarterback. With that being said, AVP and those guys have done a good job making sure the message is the same, but when it's all said and done, AVP that's the heavier hand, to use your words.
There's been 3 days so far, OTAs, and the quarterback lineup has been Brissett, Zappe, May. People are wondering, why is that? Mayo was questioned about it. Well, today it changed. So maybe they're just trying to keep the kid on his toes. Maybe tomorrow it's Zappe starting and Brissett's 2. Who knows? Brissett was the first QB in team drills today. Drake May threw 2 interceptions during 11-on-11s. One was an overthrow intended for Juju Smith-Schuster. The other was a miscommunication with Antonio Gibson. So that's one thing I'll tell you about his game is Drake May can throw downfield. Some of his struggles have been flats, somewhat over the middle as well. So the Antonio Gibson comes in to be your passing down back. So a little miscommunication there on that one. Demario Douglas caught a touchdown pass today from Drake May. Also caught one from Jacoby Brissett and Bailey Zappe. He was unguardable in the red zone, and in 7-on-7s today, had 4 touchdowns in total. So Demario Douglas last year at some points was the Patriots' number one receiver. Good to see that. Good to see the quarterbacks finding him and beating the defense that somewhat dominated today. Rookie Jalen Polk stood out during a bunch of quarterback and wide receiver workouts. He had a number of really impressive catches. So this is just some of the notes down at camp today. Another interesting name, and I feel like this is the wide receiver free agent that they're banking on to perform. It's KJ Osborne. Played in Philadelphia. They had multiple injuries to their wide receivers, Jordan Addison, Justin Jefferson. So a lot of times, KJ Osborne was the starting outside wide receiver. They said he was great on the sideline today, specifically in the end zone. Had a really good day overall. That's some of the notes on him. I'm high on KJ Osborne. I think between Bourne and Osborne, those are their two true outside receivers with Demario Douglas in the slot and Hunter Henry at tight end. I think the Patriots, that's where they're going to be most successful. So I think it's, last year they went so many 2-3 tight ends because they had to. They had to go with that 12 personnel at times. It was awful. I like to see more speed on the field, and I don't know how some of these wide receivers are going to make it onto the field. Like, I've read Juju Smith-Schuster's name 5 times in drills. Well, if Bourne and Osborne are your two sideline receivers, well, where does he fit in? He was brought in to be a yards after catch guy. His knee wasn't right. He's here. Is he your third option at boundary receiver? You have so many guys who play inside. Jalen Polk can play inside. He also played outside a ton in college. But they're loaded with guys that can play on the inside. How many guys do they have that can play on the outside? And they have a lot to figure out there at wide receiver. I think they have just a bunch of threes. Can somebody stand out, though? Hunter Henry stood out today. Was going up over defenders. Impressive touchdown grab from Jacoby Brissett. Jaheim Bell caught an impressive high-point touchdown today, delivered by Bailey Zappi. So that's a guy that they might be high on. They like these running backs to kind of redshirt that first year and then see where they go. But receivers really worked hard on red zone routes today. That seemed to be the theme when it came to quarterbacks and wide receivers. Sounds like Drake May struggled. They've seen progression every day with him. There are different receivers. A couple of guys were out today. A couple of the receivers. So, Javon Baker is one of those guys. He was limited. He could be potentially one of these next outside receivers that they drafted in the mid-rounds, and he certainly has a chip on his shoulder. But as far as the offense goes, there's the one thing that I thought was fairly interesting. The offensive line and the offensive tackles. Today they had the left side, normally the left guard, left tackle, repping on the right side, right guard, right tackle. Same thing with so they're just playing everybody everywhere, many different offensive line combos. So it's almost like, oh, he's the left tackle. Nope. They want everyone ready to play. They're moving them all around. I don't know how that works, to be honest with you. Like, it's great to have guys experienced, but I know a lot of guys like to play one position. Like, I would like Mike Nwenu to just play right tackle. Right? That would be good. Just him at right tackle. Figure out the rest of it. They're still trying to figure out the rest of it. We'll talk with Evan Lazar. We'll get his thoughts on what's happening with the Patriots. He was down there today. We'll ask him about the defense, too. A couple of guys stood out. And the new kickoff rule. I posed the question the other day. But with this new kickoff rule, do you need the kicker to kick it? Is it almost better to have an athlete kick it off or a defender kick it off so you have the extra defender? I read today that Jalen Polk returned to kickoff for a touchdown. Interesting. Who was the kicker on that one? Was he near Polk? Do they have an alternative outside of that? I think that's what this new rule brings to the table, and I can't wait to see it. I'm excited for it. All right, we're going to talk to Evan Lazar. He was down at OTAs today. He's from Patriots.com. He's going to join us coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe. You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5. You're listening to Joe Murray. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Attempting to do something a little different here. We have this great capability now with the show being on YouTube that our guests can join us and also have video as well. So we're going to try to get Evan Lazar on. He's there. Is he there? Hey, Evan Lazar, are you there, bro? From Patriots.com joining us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. That's my fault. I tried. Yeah, we'll call him. We tried to get him, and he went along with it, so I want to give him credit for this. I said, hey, I'm going to send you a link, and if it works, we're going to get you on our YouTube, because we want the people of YouTube to see our guests. We want you guys to see them. I see them now. I just don't hear them. We'll work on that. We'll get them going. And again, Patriots today, starting their OTAs. And the big move today, the swerve that happened today, was that Bailey Zappi, who was getting second-team reps, went to the third-team reps. What does that mean? Does that mean he's ready to go? Does that mean he's past Zappi? Does that mean Zappi's time is almost up? People are wondering why Zappi's even here. Let's ask Evan Lazar joining us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. We tried, Evan. We tried, man. How you doing?
I'm doing good. We tried. We'll get it right next time, I'm sure.
I saw you, though. I saw your face. It was the audio.
I could see you, too. It was the audio, I think, yeah.
Our people in YouTube were like, we want Evan Lazar. We want Evan Lazar. So that they were clamoring for you, but we got you here now. So what was some of the things? What was the number one thing that stood out to you today?
Well, I think without question, the number one thing that stood out was the order in which the quarterbacks took reps today. I think Jacoby Brissett has been pretty steadily the number one quarterback, the starter, if you want to call him that. That's what Alex Van Pelt called him, so I guess we should call him the starter. But Drake May going with the second team today ahead of Bailey Zappi. So it's just one day. I'm interested to see what it is on Monday and Tuesday, Wednesday next week at mandatory minicamp. If this holds, then it seems like Drake May has leapfrogged Bailey Zappi and moved up the depth chart, which is positive. And I don't think that this was a guarantee or something that they just handed to him. It does seem like they made him go the long way of earning it, and it does seem like he has done that. So
I've asked this question to others, so I would like your opinion on this one. Why is Bailey Zappi here besides the negative take that everyone gives me? Like, why is he here? Why is he on the roster? What good can he do being on the roster right now?
Well, I think the main reason why he's still on the roster is that they're trying to create any sort of trade market for him to get something in return for Bailey Zappi. And I don't know if that's ever going to come to fruition. But until there is a team that comes knocking that says, here's a draft pick for Bailey Zappi or not, then there's really no reason to just cut him loose other than optics or, awkwardness in the quarterback room. So I think the main reason why he's still here is that they're trying to get compensation for him. If that doesn't come to fruition at the end of training camp and at the end of the preseason, then maybe they end up going their separate ways at that point with an outright release. But there's nothing pressuring them as of right now on June 4th to just outright release him, other than the fact that maybe it's a little bit awkward inside that quarterback room. So I think that's the biggest reason.
Okay. I personally think that Alex Van Pelt can work with him. I think he can work with his footwork, number one. Two, I think play fakes. Like, he was really good on some play action passes. And really, I feel like he was sabotaged a year ago. That again, these are all my opinions, Evan. But I don't think Bill O'Brien wanted to work with him. Like, I feel like this is a guy that really couldn't go under center. There was something they wanted Mac Jones to be the guy. He really has never had that opportunity to get those kind of reps. I know he did in the regular season, but what kind of team was that at that point? I thought he showed resilience in the Buffalo game after some interceptions. I just feel like maybe he's there if there is insurance, but I like your idea. If he can show anything, maybe there is some trade value.
Yeah, I think that's the main reason, is just that, again, there's 90-man rosters right now. and he's certainly somebody that's worthy of a 90-man roster spot, if not a 53-man roster spot in the league. So, what's the rush in getting rid of him? But to your point, I have said, and I really do feel this way, that if all things were equal, if you take out the veteran mentor role that Jacoby Brissett is supposedly taking on with Drake May, and he's been in the league longer and he's older and all those kinds of things, if you took that completely out of it and you just allowed Bailey Zappi and Jacoby Brissett to compete straight up for this bridge quarterback role, I think that there's a world where Bailey Zappi wins that competition. I think there's a world where Bailey Zappi certainly pushes Jacoby Brissett. Unfortunately for Bailey Zappi, there's just a lot of this other stuff that goes into Jacoby Brissett's role with the Patriots, which is why he's going to end up being the starter and then eventually the backup to Drake May, is because Bailey Zappi doesn't bring, 7-8 years of experience and experience in this system specifically with Alex Van Pelt in Cleveland. So it's an unfair shake in some ways for Bailey Zappi because, again, just on talent alone, if the playing field was equal, then maybe he would have a chance to earn a job here, but he doesn't because of the optics with Jacoby Brissett.
All right, we're talking with Evan Lazar. You can check out his work, Patriots.com. He's got his 6 takeaways from the Patriots' third open OTA today. We talked about the quarterback and the shifting that happened today. What have you seen from Alex Van Pelt? Any changes from him to Bill O'Brien? Anything that you see with Alex Van Pelt's addition?
Yeah, I think we're still waiting to see exactly how this is all going to marry together, and I think that's a big part of this offense. And one thing that KJ Osborne, who played in this offense or a version of it in Minnesota, mentioned that until you get on the pads on come training camp, you don't really have the run game and the pass game coming together with the play action off of it, and that's this whole system. And I think that's the one thing that has really stood out to me is that we're so used to watching Patriots practices of old where the run game is downhill. You're pulling guards and you're leading with fullbacks and you're going down the throat of the defense. Now they're running a lot more outside zone. And then what we see a lot in the quarterback drills, even just against air, is drilling a lot of bootlegs. So you're going to see a lot more of that in this offense. It's going to be much more West Coast Shanahan-y, where you're going to have outside zone, you're going to try to stretch the field horizontally, and then you're going to bootleg off of that. So the play-action pass game is going to have a lot of moving pockets, which I think is going to be significantly different, too, from what we've seen here in the past. So a lot more explosives through the passing game is the idea of that, and you're really trying to chuck the ball down the field now. Like, we're not trying to play-action pass and just hit crossing routes or seam routes past the second level of the defense. You're really trying to push it down the field off of these run actions, and it's going to be interesting to see if they can get this whole thing married up.
How about the tight end position? Back in Cleveland, you saw what he did with tight ends there. Was there a focus on that at practice today in the red zone?
Yeah, certainly today we saw a lot more of the tight ends. Hunter Henry looks like he's in midseason form when it comes to just being that reliable red zone threat. Great body positioning, good play strength to finish through contact, like all the things we've seen from Hunter Henry the last couple of years here in New England. I thought that today was the first day that Jaheim Bell, the rookie that they drafted in the 7th round from Florida State, who I'm pretty high on, today was the first day that we saw him really start to flash a little bit. He had a really nice catch in red zone 11-on-11 towards the end of practice over Josh Bledsoe. And LaMichael Pettaway, he was pretty amped after his touchdown catch, so started to see a little bit more of the tight ends in general, I thought, today. I'm really curious, though, with this entire group is how it comes together with the run game, because you are going to be, again, expected to block in the run game pretty heavily at that position. So how does that all fit together? And do they really have that inline tight end with the hand in the dirt to be able to, dig out guys on the edge and get that corner that they're going to need to get an outside zone? That's going to be a big question.
All right, Evan, I got to ask you, man. You think Gerard Mayo can coach from what you've seen?
I think the biggest thing that I have, questions about with Gerard is that he has taken on, and he mentioned this actually on a piece that he did with us with Patriots.com. He has taken on a CEO type of approach here to being a head coach. A lot like what we saw with Bill, obviously. He's got his hand in everything, and he's going to kind of oversee and interject where he sees fit. And that's a little bit unique, I would say, for first-time head coaches, especially somebody that young as Gerard Mayo. Usually, when you see somebody take the reins for the first time at that age, it's Sean McVay, it's D'Amico Ryans. Like, they're focused on their side of the football, right? Like, they're calling the defense, they're calling the offense, and they hire an offensive coordinator, a defensive coordinator, often a more experienced guy to run that side of the football. So I'm a little interested. I think that's my biggest question right now, because I think the biggest thing that you hear about Gerard Mayo is that his best quality is that he's going to build a program, and he's going to be a leader of individuals and of men, and he's going to be able to get the locker room back in order and all that kind of stuff. And you don't hear a ton about the football schematics or X's and O's of it. And if I had one question mark with Gerard, it would be, what exactly is his expertise? Obviously, it's defense, but like, how is he going to put his fingerprints on the defense versus, being that CEO overseeing everything?
Okay, talking to Evan Lazar, Patriots.com. They're all over it. You guys are covering everything. I brought this one up to Skaz, so I want to ask you this question. They were working on the kickoffs today. What did you see, and was it always a kicker that was kicking? And I ask you, do they have a plan where maybe they want the extra tackler on the field, and who would be that guy?
So it was a kicker today. I don't know who it would be if they decided to go with that extra guy like the Chiefs have, said that they're going to try to do. But I think a couple of things that stand out to me of what they might try to do with this. First of all, and I think this is going to be pretty universal, at least in the beginning, I think you're going to have two returners back there. Because it's that landing zone, right? And so you have that ability as the kicker to kind of mortar kick it in a certain direction. And if you're the returner and it lands in the landing zone and you're 20 yards away from the ball, well, now you're in trouble trying to get that football and produce a return out of it. So I think what we're going to see is two returners deep, probably one on either side of the field, not like staggered like you would see on a punt, but instead just going sides. And then I think what is going to be creative about that then is that there's going to be opportunities for reverses or using the extra guy that doesn't get the ball as like a lead blocker and different sort of schemes like that. So from what we saw out there today, it's almost like a run play in the way that they're blocking it, where they're trying to kind of create a seal and then hit a crease and things like that. So it's a little bit different than like the traditional kickoff. In that sense, is that I think this is more, to me, at least a little bit more of a run play. And then the other thing I would say is that you probably want to have somebody back there that has some elusiveness. Like, I'm not sure about the straight line speed being as much of a factor now, because I think there is going to be a guy, at least one person that you're going to have to make miss on your own. Like, you're not going to get it all blocked up perfectly every single time, just like a run play. So you're going to have somebody back there, like a Marcus Jones, for example, or Pop Douglas, that has some elusiveness to him as well.
How about Jalen Polk?
Yeah, he was back there. I don't really know if that's going to be something that they're going to do during the regular season. I guess if he's someone that's more of like a tough runner with the football to me, like he does have some yards after catch ability, and he's not a nothing when it comes to that phase of the game. But I don't know if I see necessarily explosiveness and like quickness to his rack ability. It's more, to me, is like a toughness with the football that he's not going to go down easily, and you're going to have to drag him down.
See, I feel like with all the wide receivers that they have to make a decision on, like, can one of those guys contribute in that area? I mean, I look at it, Juju Smith-Schuster, like, where does he stand? I mean, if it was me, I think if everything was healthy, I'd probably go Bourne and KJ Osborne on the outside, with Demario Douglas, who was a standout today at practice. I mean, now who else, right? I mean, you got a lot of other guys here on this roster. I mean, I feel like it's going to be pretty interesting how that wide receiver group shakes out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have 12 receivers on the roster, so something's going to have to give there. And obviously you're going to have the two rookies, Polk and Baker, are making the team, barring something crazy happening, off the field or something like that. So those two guys are making the team. So you have those two guys. Kendrick Bourne, if he's healthy, is going to take up a roster spot. Pop Douglas isn't going anywhere. And then you just paid KJ Osborne a little bit of money, so he's probably going to be here. So I think although there's a lot of bodies, it's not necessarily a ton of outright roster spots. But you mentioned Juju, and I wrote this in my takeaways, that it was really telling that when they did the kickoffs and they were doing special teams, the only wide receiver that wasn't participating in special teams drills was Juju Smith-Schuster. He was off to the other field with Tyler Hughes, the wide receivers coach, doing some one-on-one work. And it did dawn on me at that time where I was like, all right, well, this is the highest paid receiver in your room who is coming off a really bad year last year, let's face it. And then he also doesn't play in the kicking game on top of that. So, like, where is his roster spot security right now if he doesn't just win it outright and he isn't just one of the best 5 receivers on the field come training camp? So Juju's got to prove himself, I think, for this team.
All right, final one, Evan. Anything on defense, right? The draft, they draft one defensive guy, right? Like, here we are now. We're not talking much of the defense because I think we know who the usual characters are. But anybody, like a corner, anybody standing out that you saw so far today?
Yeah, well, I would just say quickly before I get to the corner, Christian Barmore just completely wrecked practice at times today, and he looks like he's going to have another monster year for the Patriots. So that was great to see. But I think the one corner that continues to stick out is Alex Austin. And, he played really well down the stretch, I thought, last year. Had some really good plays on the ball, especially in Buffalo in that game. And then you look at, what he's done so far this spring, got his hand on a pass today again, intended for Tyquan Thornton during red zone drills. So there's been a lot of packages with Christian Gonzalez obviously playing his spot, and he's going to be a starter and going to be a regular for this team. And then opposite Christian Gonzalez, a lot of the time has been Alex Austin. Jonathan Jones hasn't been out there. So we'll see what that looks like next week in mandatory minicamp. But I think Alex Austin has, at the very least, like your third rotational outside corner, if you want to call it that. I think he's got a real chance to carve out a role for this team after he finished the season pretty well last year.
All right, Evan, we got some questions in our chat tonight for you. Number one, when it comes to wings, are you a drummy or a flat guy?
I'm a drummy guy, personally. I know. Is that a hot take? I don't know.
No, there's no wrong answer. I eat both, so.
Yeah, I'm a drummy guy, but I always love it going up to Buffalo, right? Like, that's like the one good thing about going to Buffalo is that we get to eat wings. So last year we went to Wing Nuts, and I would say that it lived up to the hype.
All right, and do you have a take on the NBA Finals?
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm a huge Celtics fan. I don't know if you know that. I had a bunch of games going to Game 2, actually. So I'm excited about that. And, look, I think with the Celtics, it comes down to me to the health of Kristaps, obviously. But I also just think that they are getting a little bit disrespected, I think, in the national media, Joe, with this matchup. A lot of people saying that the Mavs have the better duo and like all this stuff. And if you look at the numbers for the playoffs, the Jays are a lot closer to Luka and Kyrie than people want to say. I think that's more of a wash than people want to give it credit for. And then I obviously like the depth of the Celtics better. So we'll see what happens. But I hope that this is a series that the Jays, take some pride in the fact that they have to make a statement to the national media that, this is not just a Luka series.
All right, not just talking Patriots, throwing in his food and his basketball talk. That's what we do here on the night show, Evan. It's a lot of fun here every night. Appreciate you joining us. Check out Evan, Patriots.com, and I know you got your Catch 22 podcast as well.
Yes, with Alex Barth, your colleague. So we'll be on Thursday morning.
All right, we got it Thursday morning. Get them both, Lazar and Barth on the Catch 22. Evan, appreciate you, my man, and good luck down at OTAs.
Anytime, Joe. Thanks for having me.
All right, he's Evan Lazar. Excellent job. Check out his work today. He's got the 6 observations from OTAs today. We're taking a Celtics breather, everybody. We'll get back to the green. But first, and we have a giveaway. And we got in or out coming up at the end of the hour. And, of course, we'll continue to take your calls at 617-779-0985. But caller number 10 to our contest line, which is 617-931-0985. We'll score a 1-year Planet Fitness Black Card membership to Black Card, get you access to all the perks like freedom to bring a friend, every visit, hydro massage loungers, red light therapy booths, mediation pods, you name it. All for $24.99 a month. Sign up now at planetfitness.com. But caller number 10, you'll score a 1-year Planet Fitness Black Card, courtesy of us and Planet Fitness. All right, we'll take a quick break. I'm Joe Murray. Here's your headlines.
Sports Hub headlines.
We got game one of the finals. So I'll break down a ton. I get a lot more coming up in just a little bit. We're going to talk to Brian Barrett from The Ringer. He's got stats galore regarding the series. So for those that are awaiting more NBA Finals talk, we're going to do it all night. Got to mix in some other things, though. And one storyline that really took off yesterday was the Caitlin Clark shove down that happened, and then Angel Reese coming out with her comments as well. And the WNBA's popularity is here. There's no doubt about it. And I think a lot of it, or most of it, has to do with Caitlin Clark. Now, don't be mad at me for saying that. I know, going back to Rebecca Lobo, to Diana Taurasi, to all of them, right? I remember all of them. They all played in the WNBA. But was I watching? No. They're great players. I respect them all. But the reason why I watch the WNBA now is because of Caitlin Clark. And you know what? Maybe Angel Reese does have something to do with it. It's got nothing to do with race. It has nothing to do with that. That's been a physical sport. It's a good game. And the cheap shot that happened the other night, because it was a cheap shot on Caitlin Clark, where were her teammates? That's where I stand on this one. But here's the real interesting one. The popularity is big. It's here because of Caitlin Clark. And yes, the LSU-Iowa matchup from a couple of years ago, that's what sucked me in. And I know that Angel Reese has been there now for a couple of years. But is she the reason why the popularity is where it is? Is she the reason why they're now getting, I don't know, planed in instead of taking buses? It's Caitlin Clark. But I do feel like there are some WNBA players that maybe do feel like they've been doing this for a while too, and maybe they deserve the respect. So when Angel Reese comes out with her comment, and I'll read you the quote in a second here, but she kind of came to the table and said, when I look back, yeah, the reason we're watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too. And I want you all to realize that. Reese added that the recent hype around the WNBA actually stems from their so-called rivalry, of course, back at LSU, like I just said. But she said she's okay with being labeled the bad guy. It's a rivalry now, and it's brought popularity to the women's basketball, and it will continue to grow. It did start with that national championship a couple of years ago. But the reason why people are watching the WNBA, it is a good product, but B, Caitlin Clark has done that. And Angel Reese, you are a part of it. So if you're offended by it, like, it's okay to have a national star come into your sport. It's okay to credit that person. It's okay if you want to be the bad guy too. But the cheap shots, right? I mean, I've heard from some people who think that that's just the game now, and it's a rookie and coming up and all that. I don't think it's a race thing whatsoever. I think it's Caitlin Clark getting all the attention when she's a rookie, and a lot of people have been doing this for a while and want that same credit. I don't know if you have an opinion on it, Skaz, but I just thought that it was kind of interesting when she said, the popularity is because of me too. She wants the credit, right? I mean, whenever something's good, other people want the credit too. I just got to say this out of full transparency. I watch WNBA games because of Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, I think a lot of people do. I think Angel Reese feels like because of the LSU, Iowa stuff and all the attention around that, which was well-deserved. I mean, those games were awesome. Women's college basketball was doing massive ratings all year. But Caitlin Clark was the draw. And I think it's good for the sport. Like, I don't know, when was the last time we talked WNBA? Like,
on this show.
It doesn't happen.
Well,
so,
Lifshatz is betting on it. We don't talk about it.
Yeah, so, I mean, I'm not going to get into I don't think it has anything to do with race or anything like that. But what you're seeing is eyeballs turning into takes, and people haven't been watching the WNBA. Like, you can go back and see clips of Taurasi getting targeted. Like, this is something that happens in sports to talented rookies. That's where my kind of problem comes with it, where people are acting like it's just a Caitlin Clark thing. I mentioned Connor Bedard the other night. Connor Bedard was targeted time in and time out on those things. You see it in the NBA. You see it in every sport. I mean, the Orioles just called up the number one prospect in baseball. He went like 0 for 26. You think guys weren't looking at him like, okay, bud, you're next up. I'm going to show you. It's just, that's what happens in sports. So the Angel Reese thing, I get it. She's a rookie too. She wants some of the credit for, the eyeballs being on it. But it is a Caitlin Clark thing, and she doesn't deserve all the credit, but most of it is because of her. And I think it's just good for the league to have some animosity, some eyeballs.
Yeah,
like,
it's good.
This is what sports are. Like, people aren't always like, it's not all happiness and fun. Like, these women want to take down the best new player in the league. That's good.
You know what else is funny though? People are upset, and again, the Stephen A. stuff and all that. I watched it. I think other people have made it storylines. It's not. I think we're coloring between the lines here. If I was some of those girls, I'd be thanking Caitlin Clark. Wow, it finally took someone like you to come here to get people to watch us. The competition is really good. The competition's really good. You watch the WNBA product at times I thought was better than some of the college basketball men's I watched this year. I mean that. But if I was some of those girls, I'd be like, thank you, Caitlin. Think about it. She's like the worst team in the league, too.
Yeah, she's on a bad team. She's like second in the league in assists or something already with, a pretty, like, not a good team around her. She's getting targeted every night. She's still producing. So,
she handles it well.
She handles it.
Everything. She went on Saturday Night Live, remember, and chirped all them. She went back at McAfee for what he said.
Yeah, she's handled it. You couldn't, if you're the WNBA, you couldn't have asked for
a better superstar.
Exactly.
She's like the perfect superstar.
And she's producing.
Game.
Like, the team's record might not be there, but it's basketball. It's not, one superstar with not a lot of help can only do so much. So I just think it's a matter of time.
We're talking about it. We are talking about it. But we've brought this up a couple of times. These star players, they need. There needs to be somebody on that team that's going to be like, hey, I got your back. Don't worry about anything else. Worry about protecting Caitlin Clark. I'm being serious. If you want to make a living, you protect. Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
They need to get her like a Bill Lambier or something.
Yes. Rick Mahorn.
There we go.
You know, just someone that will protect them. All right, we got in or out. Coming up next here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
What's it gonna be, McFly? Are you in?
I'm the best. Success is guaranteed. Out. Listen. This is not the guy I want to learn more about.
No, I've seen enough.
Just don't need any more of this guy.
I think we've gotten our fill.
Give me another Baldwin, though. I'd be interested in that.
Well, you're going to get a bunch of them, apparently.
That is true.
All right, Joe, this is one I think you'll be excited about, and that is that we are finally getting an American Gladiators reboot.
Yes!
Joe, are you in or out?
I'm in. I used to watch American Gladiators after wrestling on Saturday mornings. I think it was on TNT or at times too, but I think I can remember all of them. Oh, I used to love the joust fights. That was the best. Two people on a podium just jousting. But this would be cool. And plus nowadays, like, you could be going up against some real specimens. Also, I love the one where they just shoot the tennis balls at people. I'm in on this one.
Would you compete?
I mean, I'd be the easiest target in the world. Like,
what if you got to be the guy that shoots the tennis balls, though?
Oh, sick. I'd get, like, a certain mask, you know, that, like, gave me better vision so I could really go at somebody. But, yeah, if I could be one of the guys that was just, like, the sharpshooter,
That's a good gig right there.
But I've done paintball before, and being a big guy, like laser tag, being a large man, you're useless. Stay close to base, and anybody who comes close, that's what you do. The stamina, though, on the joust, I'd hit as hard. I don't know, man.
Just go for one big swing?
I would I'd try to knock him out.
It's like Butterbean or whatever.
Just knock him out. One swing, see ya. Because I don't know about the stamina on one of those things.
Yeah, balance might become an issue there.
They've tried to reboot this thing a couple of times. The American Ninja Warrior was somewhat... I mean, I kind of watched... What's that other show where they ran across the water stuff?
I always think of MXC. I don't know if you remember that from back in the day.
Yeah.
That was a classic. Wish they'd bring that back.
But, Double Dare had physical challenges. Gladiator is the ultimate physical challenge.
All right, Joe, this is an interesting one I saw today, and that is that IKEA is opening a virtual store in the game Roblox where players can also work and earn $14.80 an hour. Joe, are you in or out on people virtually working inside an IKEA and getting paid for it?
In. I love IKEA. They got those Swedish meatballs there. Yes, I do. But is there anything wrong with drinking a energy drink, guys, that is warm, that has been in the car for over 24 hours?
I'm out. Out.
Even in desperation.
I mean, desperation, sure, I'll do it. But I'm like a strictly cold beverage guy. I'm not a room temperature.
Like, you don't want it unless it's cold.
Yeah, preferably like a lot of ice, which I know is like frowned upon because you're not getting as much of the drink. But just give it to me cold.
I hate that. When I go out to somewhere, they literally pour the glass in the ice thing and give me a little bit of drink. Hold the ice.
And then they'll load up on it just to screw you.
You ever notice that too? Like if you just get like a glass of bourbon, they give you that giant ice cube that's the size of the glass. But if you pull that thing out, it's like this, and nobody can see unless you're watching on YouTube. It's this much. It's like in Goodfellas when he's about to leave and she goes, "I need money." And he goes, "How much?" And she just does this. All right, well, we're trying to teach the youth. And the clock today, I'm sorry for the principals on the clock, everybody. We'll get your headlines right now. And we'll do more Celtics talk on the other side. I'm Joe Martin.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, the road to Nevada 18. This is the flagship station of the Boston Celtics.
The Boston Celtics swarm the floor.
WBZFM at HD Boston 98.5, the Sports Hub. Is the media group station. Sports Hub headlines.
Well, the Red Sox were tied, and now it's 7-3 Atlanta in the top of the seventh inning. OTAs for the Patriots continue today. Drake May passed Bailey Zappi, at least on the depth chart for one day. Christian McCaffrey got an extension with the 49ers. He's going to get $19 million guaranteed per season. That's pretty good for a running back, huh? And Celtics and Mavericks Thursday night here on 98.5 The Sports of Game 1. Kristaps Porzingis is a go. Headlines, they are brought to you by Awaken with Any Weight Loss. Make a pledge not to buy bigger shorts this summer. Fit in the last year's shorts or even last decade's shorts in just 1 week with Awaken with Any Weight Loss. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update soon.
Listen to it, laugh at it, get mad at it, agree with it, argue about it. It is Boston Sports. Boston Sports. And it is all we do. 98.5.
On the series. A couple of tweets that came in. Did you see the attendance difference from Reese's games to Clark's games? I haven't, but I assume Caitlin Clark's games are pretty big. I would just assume that. Also, 98.5 The Sports have just shared this. According to Joey Murr, the Celtics will win the championship by playing Missoula ball. That's true. There's an article right now up at 98.5 The Sports. I got all the stats for you. They're there. The Baldwin's wife used to pretend to, she used to pretend to have an accent, I guess, says someone. I highly recommend the American Gladiators documentary on Netflix. Oh! What isn't Netflix doing these days? I mean, they're already getting involved now in our Christmas dinners. I like basic TV on a Christmas day, by the way. Now they got to stream it now? I'm out on that. Well, it looks like the Larry O'Brien trophy's at Fenway Park tonight. David Ortiz held it up for the audience, and everyone clapped. He was in center field. In the monster seats and left. So the Larry O'Brien trophy's here. Game 1's Thursday night. And we're going to talk to Brian Barrett from The Ringer. We'll get all his thoughts, stats, etc. coming up next. I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You're listening to Joe Murray on 98.5.
isn't specifically to what has transpired in the playoffs, but I think one of the most underrated storylines is the Celtics offense against the Mavericks defense. So the Mavericks defense has been outstanding down the stretch of the season. But when the Celtics played the Mavericks back in March, they actually did this crazy thing, and they made Luka Doncic work on defense. Because if you watched any of the Minnesota series, he was essentially David Ortiz. He was playing one side of the court, stuck on the corner on McDaniel, set to do nothing defensively. The Celtics in that game scored 30 points on Luka as the primary defender. They really made an effort to go after him. If you look at that game, Jalen had 10 points on him. Drew had 8 points on him. So I think this is sort of something that the Celtics have to do. Not to say that this should hijack their offense. Like, they should attack Kyrie. They should attack Luka. But in the same sense, it also wears these guys down for later on in the series. I mean, the ability to rest that Luka had in the last series is just something I don't think the Celtics are going to let them off the hook, him or Kyrie. And the same thing I would say happened with Kyrie. You look at that game in March, they scored 18 points on Kyrie as the primary defender, and they had over 20 points on Kyrie in the game earlier this season as well. And Tatum had 9 points on Kyrie in one of the games. So the Celtics, one of the things they do really well, as we all know, is mismatch hunt, and I think they're going to go after both of those guys.
So you're our stats guy. I like when you break down, the one-on-ones, who covers what. I just saw you had some P.J. Washington 3-point percentages. I want to get into that in a bit, but my take is the Mazzulla ball. What Mazzulla ball will win the championship for the Celtics this year. It's been critical, right? People think it might have been their flaw for them at some point. But I think because of the volume in threes that they have, which also sets up the matchups you're talking about, right? Dual man defense, things of that degree, different matchups. They made Luka work. Well, I think that's going to wear him down. But they also can't keep up 3 for 3. I know regular season-wise, Mavs were just behind the Celtics in attempts per game and even makes per game. But in the playoffs, it's been dramatic. And anytime the Celtics win the 3-point matchup, they're 11-0 in the playoffs. So that's why I think they're going to win. But you're looking at it more as trying to get Luka in different defensive sets and really trying to wear him down.
Yeah, I think that's certainly part of it. I mean, you look at it, the one thing I'd say, too, about that, just in terms of the 3-point shooting, is when you look at Dallas, they haven't had to play a team like the Celtics. And I just mean in terms of they haven't really faced a true 5-out offense. They faced Oklahoma City, but the coach of the year there decided that, hey, let's keep starting Josh Giddey until the end of the series. So basically, they didn't have to cover Josh Giddey. They just allowed him to shoot. You look at the teams that they faced throughout this postseason. During the regular season, the Wolves were 23rd in 3-point attempts. The Clippers were 21st. The Thunder were 16th. Even though the Thunder shoot the 3 well, they said, you know what, Lou Dort, I know he's a 39% 3-point shooter. We don't believe it. Prove us you can hit those shots. Dort took the most threes in that series for Oklahoma City, and he ended up shooting a poor percentage. Chet did not shoot well. We know what happened in Minnesota, where Towns was 8 of 33. Who are the Mavericks going to do this with in the Celtics series? I just don't see it. We know it's not going to be Porzingis, who in the game that he played against him, he had 3 threes in the first quarter. The only guy I could envision they would do this with is Al Horford. Like, if they want to sag off Al a little bit, but we've seen that. Al hit 7 threes in one of the games in the last series, and he's had 3-point games where he hasn't shot the ball well. But I just feel like that stresses that defense, where if you can't leave guys, the thing that has made Dallas so good defensively is the way they protect the rim. But if you're going to have a big on Kristaps Porzingis, whether it be Gafford or Lively, what can you possibly do? Are you going to put them on a different offensive player? Like, do you put them on a guy like Drew? We saw the Nuggets try to do that at the end of the game that the Celtics played earlier this season, and Drew just hit a couple of threes. A couple of other teams have tried that, too, on Drew Holiday and take him off Porzingis because they want the rim protection. I just think that's a recipe for disaster, too, because if you take the big off Porzingis, well, all season long, Porzingis has been the most efficient post player in the league, not because he posts up big men. It's because he posts up smaller players in mismatches. He had averaged 1.30 points per possession, which the best offense in the NBA is at 1.22. So I just feel like from a matchup perspective, Dallas doesn't really have a lot of good answers on that side of the court in terms of Jason Kidd's going to have to come up with something, because the way they've been playing defense through the first 3 rounds, Zubac with the Clippers, not a shooter. We talked about Oklahoma City. Minnesota had Rudy Gobert on the court basically they were effective with him in the court defensively, not offensively. So I just don't see the answer that they're going to play unless they go to a guy like Kleber, but he did not look good in the last series. So they have a lot more questions to answer than do the Celtics.
All right, we'll talk about Brian Barrett of The Ringer. I've been listening to your colleagues. I know Simmons and Russillo and all these guys have their predictions. I know you look at it differently, but you mentioned Kristaps Porzingis being that type of shooter. Is there any chance he could come off the bench?
That's interesting. I guess they could do that if they want to keep his minutes down. And I think that would be an interesting idea because I think it's one of the things that if you look at Al Horford, one of the benefits the Celtics got, of course, winning that series early is more time for Al to rest. And if you really think about it, Joe, his age and minutes are not going to hurt him through the first 3 games of the NBA Finals, right? So you go Thursday, 2 days off Sunday, and then you go 2 days off again, and you play on Wednesday night. So if you want Porzingis, for lack of a better term, to sort of get his win back, so to speak, well, then you have that option with Al Horford. I think you could do it the other way, too, and just start Porzingis and maybe play him in shorter stints. But it wouldn't be – I don't think it'd be out of the realm of possibility to do it. But I don't know, like with Porzingis, he's been so used to that role as the starter all season long. Do you want to take him out of that? So I would be surprised if they do that, but I don't think it's a bad idea. I definitely think the minutes are going to be way closer between Al and Porzingis the first couple of games, and then we'll see how the calf holds up throughout the series. Because I think on the other side, Dallas is going to, at some point, change their starting lineup. I would imagine that Lively, after Dallas loses a game, will go into the starting lineup because throughout this postseason, Lively's just been way better than Gafford. They're plus 108 with Lively on. They're minus 30 with Gafford on the court. Wow. So I think they'll make that. Yeah, I think they'll make that switch at some. And by the way, their offensive rating with Gafford on the court is a 105.9. The Grizzlies had the worst rating this season at 106.8. So I think they'll make that change at some point. They haven't yet, I understand, but desperate times call for desperate measures. If you fall behind, it kind of gives you the chance to make that move. And I think they could play Gafford off the court in this series too, because Lively is so good as is a roll man. He's one of the most efficient roll men in the NBA, and he's a good passer. Gafford can't really pass. So when you run that high pick and roll with Luka and Gafford, you can say, hey, let's just blitz that. And hey, Gafford, you want to make a play on the short roll? Go ahead and do that. We'll see if you can beat us.
Yeah, you meant I saw a few of your stats. Gafford and Lively have had a ton of dunks and points in the paint. Well, Jaylen Brown in the regular season versus Dallas had plenty of points inside the paint. How do they attack those bigs? And I brought up earlier that Missoula ball is what's going to win, help them win. Who are some of the 3-point shooters? Will Hardy be involved? Will they maybe see Tim Hardaway Jr.? I mean, I'm trying to figure out who can keep up with the shooting of the Celtics.
Yeah, they really don't have a lot of good answers. Like, if you look in their starting lineup, Derrick Jones Jr., they have to play him because he's their best wing defender. I would imagine that he gets the Tatum matchup to start the game. P.J. Washington, I mean, his numbers that we saw throughout the postseason, they're kind of misleading because he was a great shooter in one series. But if you look at P.J. Washington and his track record as a shooter, he's never been a consistent guy. In fact, I mean, you look at it, he is 32% this past season in terms of his three-point shooting. He had an outstanding series against Oklahoma City where Oklahoma City just left him open in the corner. And that's really the only success that he's had in the postseason. I mentioned a guy like Derrick Jones Jr., 19 of his 21 made threes are wide open, which means the closest defender is at least 6 feet away. I mean, these are threes that you or I could hit, Joe, based on the way that teams were guarding him throughout the postseason. So whether that is Tim Hardaway, I would be interested because they basically have put him on ice throughout the postseason. But I'm sure the one thing I'll give Jason Kidd credit for, and I can't believe I'm saying this because this is once the guy that, remember when he was coaching I believe it was Tyshawn Taylor from Kansas. He had him bump into him to get an extra timeout so he could spill his Coke on the floor. He was very bad in Brooklyn. He was very bad in Milwaukee, where they're just running around like crazy, trapping guys. And then right when he got fired, they turned into one of the best defenses in the league with Budenholzer. But I give him credit. He's made a lot of adjustments throughout the season, changing the lineup and whatnot. I don't see the personnel here. Like, if you just look at the rosters and you compare these two teams and you say, okay, even if you concede Luka's the best player in the series, Tatum's number 2, I would take Jalen over Kyrie Irving because of the two-way ability. And let's face it, Jalen's been awesome this postseason. Say Kyrie 4. After that, it's all Celtics for a while, right? It's Drew, it's Derek White, it's Kristaps Porzingis before maybe you get to Derek Lively. So I hate to sound like super overconfident. Maybe I'll regret this. I just feel like on paper, the Celtics, not to say they dodged a bullet, but the toughest matchup for them was Jokic, right? They didn't have a good answer for Jokic, whether it be Porzingis or Al Horford. I look at this team, and Luka's a genius, but you have multiple guys you can throw at him when we're talking about Tatum, Brown, and even to a lesser extent, Drew Holiday. And then Kyrie, you have multiple guys, Derek White, Drew Holiday. If you ask me, hey, who are 5 guys you'd like to cover Kyrie Irving? 2 of them are on the Celtics, and Drew Holiday and Derek White. So I just feel like from a matchup perspective, the Celtics have a lot of answers to what the Mavericks want to do. That's why I feel very confident the Celtics are going to win the series.
Yeah, I have the Celtics in 5. I bet it already. I'm in. I actually had this as my NBA Finals. So I feel like I've been all over it. I still think that, to what you just said, I don't know if the Mavericks have enough to keep up. But how do the Mavericks steal games, win games, potentially win this series? And I look at it as slowing the game down, playing isolation basketball with Kyrie Irving and Luka Doncic. Could the Celtics fall into that same type of game as well? And if they have bad shooting nights, is that what could hurt them as well?
Right. I think that would be the recipe for Dallas. And we know that Dallas likes to play at a slow, methodical pace. Now, to their credit, they have pushed the ball a lot more this season with Kyrie Irving than they have in previous seasons. But I think they'd have to make a bet on shooting luck. Like one of the guys, say they decide that, hey, we're leaving Horford open and we're leaving Porzingis open in a game, and neither one of those guys hits threes. I mean, we've seen this throughout not just this year with the Celtics, but throughout the history of the franchise with this group of players that, hey, when the three-point shooting isn't there, sometimes they can lose a game. And maybe Dallas has one of these games where P.J. Washington, although I'll believe it when I see it, hits a bunch of open threes, and Derek Jones Jr. hits a bunch of threes, and they win it that game. That's the only way I can see them winning a couple of games in the series is if they do that. Now, the one thing I'll say in terms of where the Celtics offense has got static in the past, it's against these switching defenses, right? I mean, we go back to the 2022 NBA Finals with Golden State where they could switch everything with Draymond. We can go back to just last season in the Eastern Conference Finals, the Heat, they could switch everything at that point because the Celtics didn't have Porzingis, right? So Bam could go out and switch on smaller players, and they were okay having a smaller guy cover Al Horford because Al's not going to abuse you in the post and mismatches or anything along those lines. I just don't see that personnel that Dallas has because you're not going to want to switch Lively or Gafford onto some of the Celtics in terms of like the Tatums, the Jaylen Browns of the world. The only thing that Dallas has done in the past to try to turn into a switching team is with Kleber. Like there was a game earlier this season where they were fine switching Kleber onto Tatum. It didn't really work out for Dallas, but that's the one type of defense that has given the Celtics trouble, and I just don't know if Dallas has the personnel to be able to do that. What I like is the Celtics 4-2. I respect Luka enough to give him 1-2 games in this series, and you can actually get that. Celtics to win 4-2, Tatum to win MVP is plus 650. If you want to throw Jalen MVP and the Celtics to win 4-2, you can get that at 25-1.
Wow. I thought it was wild seeing how many numbers Luka and Kyrie, how they assisted on almost 80% of the shots together to their offense. They're putting up some unbelievable offensive numbers. And you mentioned their defense has been better. The more I look at this, I feel better about the Celtics every day. But, there's a lot of disrespect nationally when it comes to the Celtics, right? And they have to prove it, of course. But is there any other motivation for the Mavericks? Like, betting-wise, this could be one of the biggest upsets in NBA history.
Yeah, it's way up there. So I don't really think so. The only other thing I would say, just thinking back to what they could do, I think that if they decide to put Tatum on the big like we've seen in the past, and they can switch the Doncic pick and roll with Gafford or Lively, I do wonder about Derek White on Kyrie. He's outstanding on Kyrie, but I wonder if Dallas is, if they find something where it's like, hey, we're going to do small screens where the Celtics love to do this with Derek White for Tatum, but Kyrie for Luka. And I know it's crazy to think this way, but this is what you have to come up with. You have to come up with underdog strategies. Maybe they use Kyrie as a screener to get Derek White switched on to Luka just because he's given up 40 pounds, and that would be a difficult matchup. That's one thing that maybe they go to late in some of these games, and maybe it works out for them. But overall, I don't see what if you, from a betting perspective, if you think Dallas is going to win the series, you're better off just betting Luka for MVP. There's more value there than there is betting Dallas to win the series. And I think if Dallas wins the series, Luka's going to be the MVP. But in terms of the Celtics' motivation, I think these guys are completely fired up. Think about it. Like over the past, I would say 2 weeks and change, you could argue that the character of the star players has both been called out for just idiotic reasons. I'm sure you've talked about it a bunch, Joe, in terms of the Tatum not being happy for Jalen. And then you had Stephen A. Smith on his show reading out that Jalen has this better than you attitude that one person in the NBA told him, and he decided to read it on his show, which quite frankly, I thought was completely unfair. But I think there sort of is a rallying cry around those two guys and getting them a championship. And then, look, Tatum gets into a totally different conversation because Luka right now is getting all the praise. If Tatum has a series like he did last one, and I'm not saying that it goes exactly the way it did, but if he averages 30, 10, and 6, and they beat Luka Doncic and the Mavericks, and his two-way play is on display, then we may be having conversations about how high does Tatum get up in the rankings? Right now, I'd put him 4th or 5th best player in the league. But if he can pull this off, man, the only issue has been the 3-point shooting. If he can pull this off, he enters a totally different conversation. He'd be, without question, the best Celtic post Larry Bird. He already has 3 times. He's already been All NBA first team 3 times. Paul Pierce never did that. He only did it once in terms of second team, and he made some third teams, but he never made first team All NBA. Tatum's done it now 3 consecutive seasons. MVP finish of 6, 5, and 6. Pierce's highest is 7. I don't think it's arguable that Tatum would have already passed Pierce.
All right, man. Well, I'm all ready to go. It's this Thursday night. You going to be there?
I don't think I'm going to be there for game 1. I'll try to get into one of them, hopefully 2 or 5, but I don't think I'm going to make it in for game 1. Although, I don't know, I may regret that decision. Maybe I'll change my mind quickly here because I do kind of want to see the whole booing of Kyrie and that type of stuff, which I'm quite frankly over because the Celtics have been better because of it, although it would stink to see Kyrie beat the Celtics. That would be horrible, but I do kind of want to see what the arena is going to be like on Thursday night. I'm already seeing Brady putting out videos, so I'm ready to go too, man.
All right, man. He's Brian Barrett. Check out all his work. Guys are killing it over at the Ringer, and I'm sure you'll be bringing it in every game of the NBA Finals. Appreciate you, Brian, and can't wait for Thursday night.
All right, thanks for having me.
All right, he's Brian Barrett. Check him out, everybody, over at the Ringer. We're breaking down the NBA Finals. We've been doing it all week long here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. We'll get your Sports Hub headlines here. I'll tell you what happened with the Red Sox. It's not good.
Sports Hub headlines.
So the Red Sox lost. This is what we're going to have to deal with when there's no more basketball. But it's not good, everybody. They lost 8-3 tonight. Since they've won the World Series in 2018, their record is 193 and 193. It's not good. Christian McCaffrey got paid. Porzingis is going to play on Thursday. And the Patriots are down 28-20 in the fourth quarter of the Super Bowl against Atlanta right now. Let's see if they can come back and win the game. Headlines. They are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray.
More Joe Murray coming up on the Sports Hub.
has 21% on my laptop making it through the end of the night. Or because right now it's 21%. We got an hour and 12 minutes to go or whatever it is. I can't really do math anymore. We got our list out there. Worst gamblers of all time. Ipe Mazahara. Today, Peter Marcano. Phil Mickelson. Antoine Walker. Charles Barkley. John Daly. Pete Rose. Jonte Porter. I got Michael Jordan on my list. I'm going to throw Ohtani on there because he hasn't been caught yet. And Rick Tocchet should probably go on that list. He got in a big one. I saw Tiger Woods. I mean, I don't know.
I feel like when you're Tiger Woods or Jordan, though, like, isn't that almost like, this is probably bad to say, but like, isn't that almost like the point of getting that rich is that you can just make outlandish bets? Like, if I was Tiger Woods was a billionaire at one point. He might be again. Like, yeah, I probably would be throwing $200,000 on the coin toss. Like, I can't even throw $10 on the coin toss now. But like, I feel like when you're a real degenerate, it's a problem. Jordan and Tiger have so much money that like, is it even a problem?
It's a competitive nature.
Yes.
It's impulsive.
Yeah.
They're impulsive, and that's what it is. Like, sometimes, guys, I'll be honest with you, like, I've bet since probably I was like 16 years old. It's more of just having action.
Yeah, I blame my grandfather. Like, they used to like drop bricks off his roof and like bet on which brick would hit the ground first.
We used to,
like, literally.
I told you, we used to bet on babies. We used to put our friends' babies down and see which one could get to the line the fastest, and we'd bet on it. We used to bet on raindrops on a window, which one would make it to the ground first. Oh, I've done it. I've been there. It's compulsive. But for me, though, I just want in on the action. Like, when there's games on, I don't care. Like, I can't even remember the last. I bet the Celtics and Mavs to meet in the finals. So that hit. Like, that was good for me. But for the most part, these people, you're right, with big money, with so much on the line, it's stupid. Carl, you've been holding for a while, man. I'm sorry. How you doing?
Well, I'm a lot better after hearing Professor Barrett is back, and of course, Joe has the facts. I just want to make a quick comment before I thank Professor Barrett on his point to see if it's true or false. And the comment is simply this. Miss Swift said haters are going to hate. And the reality is, without them and what you call inflammation and swelling controversy, there's really not much to talk about. So as much as they may not let facts get in the way and be a little emotional, it's food for fodder. And I told my friend Hoda at the Today Show, her story was, they're not giving Caitlin Clark the money, only $75,000. They're taking advantage of her. Throw in the race card, and you got a 2 for Tuesday. And reality is $75,000 based upon the actual revenue distribution. It was a little bit more than her fair part because the people that built it, the 4 and 5 year, 6-year veterans, the women that are getting the money.
I can't understand anything.
What was going on in the background of that call?
I lost him at Taylor.
Yeah, I don't know who Hoda is. Yeah,
Hoda, is that like, remember the?
Is he Yoda's cousin?
No,
I have no idea.
Hoda, wasn't that like a Regis and Regis?
Oh, maybe. I don't.
I'm old.
I think I'm a little too young to know who Regis and Kelly, maybe I remember, but Regis hosting Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. That's about all my Regis knowledge.
I don't know where we were going with that one. Chat's bumping tonight, huh?
Yeah, you could say that. A lot of 04 Red Sox talk in there.
Why?
I have no idea. A lot of drums versus flats talk in there.
Oh yeah. Blue cheese versus ranch. I mean, people were really getting into it tonight. And guess what? I didn't start it.
No. I don't know how it got started.
Someone's talking about apple cider vinegar. You ever tried that?
Yeah, I drink it in the morning sometimes.
Oh, if you get heartburn, dude, clears it right out.
Take like a shot of it, mix it in a cup of water first thing in the morning. Good for you.
Right out. So the Patriots were down 28-20. 28-3, they were down. There's a game on the NFL Network. Wondering if they're going to come back. Oh, it's overtime now. They tied it.
I was so confused for a second there. No idea you were watching.
I've been watching this thing. Maybe I can. Maybe we can bet on it. What do you
Patriots
think?
Falcons.
I think the Patriots win by 6. What do you think?
We got Rangers Devils Stanley Cup Finals on in here.
You know what? I like the Rangers.
It's probably Eastern, right? Not the finals. Rangers Devils.
Now they're going to show the finals.
There we go.
Yeah. Pavel Barrett was on that team. Mark Messier guaranteed to win. That was a heyday, man.
It's kind of funny to me as like someone who, I'm 30, Rangers seem like a premier NHL franchise. They've won one cup in like 80-something years.
Yeah, the Bruins have won 1 in 50.
Yeah, so it's like, I don't want to be the Rangers. I don't.
So you don't want to be the Rangers. You don't want to be the Maple Leafs.
No, definitely don't want to be the Maple Leafs. Canadians, right? 1 cup since 93.
2 teams. 1 cup. All right, we got to go to break. I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
Don't go anywhere. 98.5 The Sports Hub.
You want a random take? Murray's got all sorts on stuff in the world unrelated to sports. So sit back, relax, and get your mind in the game and listen to the words of a grown man complaining.
All right, it's Murray's Musings, 98.5 The Sports Hub. It's June 4th. The man who rapped that is literally standing across from me right now. His name is Mark Feldman.
Hi.
There he is. He worked here before.
Yeah, a while ago. I'm back.
He's back!
Full force. Just kidding. I'm a mercenary.
Can we get more raps?
Yeah, dude, honestly, whatever you need.
No, I'm serious.
Yeah, I'll hook you up.
Like if the Celtics win, we'll come up. Well, you can come up with it if you want. If you want help, I can give you some lines. We can collab if you want.
While, so yeah, if you wanna.
But I think you can handle it though. I don't need to get involved.
I mean, it's been I've been selling a lot of limoncello.
Yeah.
So I might need a refresh. So I went and worked for my family's company.
That's right. So you left here
for about.
You went to work for your family's company, so that's where you've been.
Yep.
So you didn't leave to like take another job or anything. You took to take on your family's business.
Right. I went to help out with marketing over there. And yeah, just been doing that, slinging limoncello for the past, I don't even know, 5 years. And had 3 kids since then.
Wow.
And everything, I don't know what happened, but everything in the world went up substantially. So now I'm like, listen, I just got to get back into here and see if these guys can use my help.
So your story, if I can remember.
Yep.
I know you used to do the hip hop. Was it like, we'll just 88.9, whatever it was back in the day, right?
Oh my God. Yes. I started 88.9. Rest in peace.
I remember, I've been in, I'm older than you, but I've been in the radio business for 17 years.
Yes.
So I go way
comparable.
back.
Yeah. I think we've been at the same time. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I remember you there. And then here, I know you did stuff with the old morning show.
Yeah. So I started at 88.9. Then I went to another competitor for music in the Boston market. And then BCN went off air. Sports Hub started.
And they were like, hey, we need you, man.
Yeah, we need you. And then I was supposed to do TNR, but they had a guy named Dan O'Brien.
Yeah, that guy.
Yeah.
He did like acoustic sunrise.
I'm like,
or whatever.
dude, this guy plays the guitar. Like, you really going to pick this guy over me?
Yeah. He goes to Hawaii every year, too.
Yeah, no, I'm just kidding. I love Dan.
I love Dan.
And then, I was started the Sports Hub. I was here for a while.
Did you work nights first with DA?
Yeah, I was with DA for a while.
And then you moved to midday.
Middays with Gresh and Zolak.
Gresh, okay. You weren't here for Tangway then.
I was around. I was doing raps for Tangway back then.
You were doing raps for Tangway?
Absolutely. I did a show opener for Tangway and Zoe. And then, I ended up with Gresh and Zoe and then left to Hot 96.9.
That's right.
That's right.
You did the morning show there.
The morning show at Hot forever.
With Ramiro?
Yeah, with Ramiro.
Pebbles, Melissa?
That's right. Your girl, Melissa.
Yep.
And
Leroy now.
Leroy, that's
Leroy
right.
too.
Shout out to Leroy. I haven't seen that dude in forever. And I know Leroy was friends with Cerrone.
Cerrone, who's going to be doing postgame with us.
I never met Cerrone, but Cerrone.
He's great.
And Leroy told me about him, and I was listening. He's really good.
And now you're back.
And now I'm back. I'm just like,
you're going to see me.
Yes.
You're going to see Cerrone. You'll meet Cerrone.
Yes.
He'll be doing postgame.
Yes.
And then you'll know the rest of the guys. Felger and Maz are still here.
Yes,
Beatles
I
now,
saw Maz and Felger. That was cool.
Beatles now with Zoe. I'm sure you know that.
Yeah.
And
I chill with Big Jim. Like that's my in for the past whatever.
Nice.
Like we'll go to games and chill. So I've seen him for a while.
And then Hardy is now on the morning.
Yes, that's what's up. Shout out to the Hardvark. Me and him, I don't know, started producing. I was doing weekends with him and Troop. Remember that?
I remember, dude.
Remember Troopiato?
I love Troop. Way back.
Hopefully people aren't bored by this conversation.
No, I love this.
It's more like a nostalgic a path down memory
This
lane.
is what we do on the night show because
No doubt.
this show is different than all the others.
Yes.
Right? I've
That's what you
claimed
keep telling me.
this
I
is
can
not
see
the
it now.
Felger and Maz post show.
Right.
Right? Because, people want to call this show to say things. Oh, I heard Felger and Maz say this today, and I don't allow that, by the way. I say no.
That's right.
I have my own takes. I try not to listen. Oh, there you go. See, there you go. Let's do it again. Do it. Blast
That was
it.
horrible.
In the world unrelated to sports.
Oh, okay.
So sit
my
back,
bad.
relax,
See,
and get your mind in the game.
And listen to the words of a grown man complaining.
My bad about that. See,
No, it's all good.
Still learning because I thought that there was another music bed that I could run
No, we
into.
just repeated, but
gotcha,
you know what?
gotcha, cool.
So, yes, we need more raps.
Yes, no doubt. Listen, we'll do that. We'll have some fun. I got some ideas. And, it's cool to be back. And, I appreciate the 2 minutes going down memory lane.
All right, well, know where you can find this now. On 98.5thesportshub.com. You can then find it on YouTube. That's where we're streaming now.
Thing.
And eventually, this will be on an article, The
Love
Return of the One and Only Mark Feldman.
That's what's up. I appreciate it.
It's a digital experience here, Mark.
Oh, dude, I appreciate it. I appreciate the love.
All right.
Yeah, all right.
Well, my musing for the day is this, for those that care. Did anybody know that X or Twitter, you can officially now distribute porn on X as long as you put a content warning in front of it? So I thought that you could already find porn anyways, right? Like back in the day, I used to have to go in woods. The only place I ever found porn when I was a kid was at the George Wright Golf Course. Or in the park next to it, as Kevin's giving me a thumbs up. Right? You saw porn in there too? Or in the Roach Brothers parking lot? Anyways, it was the only time I ever saw porn in my life. Or at like one of my friend's father's house. With the Playboys, Or the Biggins. Anyways, when we did the nipples for triples the other night, or Tyler did the nipples for triples. Feldman hasn't met Tyler yet, has he? Oh, God, I got to get them together. Well, all the porn started showing up on my Twitter. And according to Elon Musk, you can now officially distribute porn on X as long as you put a content warning. So you can do whatever you want on Twitter now. Is that basically it?
Seems like it.
Because the other night, when the 34 happened, I was out. Get me off that thing. By the way, I don't think I'm working on election night. I think I'm putting in for that day. I'm already putting in for that one. That was a tough night the other night. Imagine trying to be on a social platform on that kind of day.
Yeah, some good memes going around.
David Ortiz, 34. Don Sweeney, 34.
Byron Dafoe,
34.
Shane
Paul
Vereen.
Pierce. Shane Vereen. Shane 90, 34.
The sheriff.
Dave Gosher coming back? What do you think?
I did see that being rumored. I mean, I love Gosher. I'd like to see that.
I mean, he already went to Vegas. They won.
So he should return now. He got his ring.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It's a no-brainer. What are we doing there?
If you like to golf, not a bad place to be.
Well, he loves the golf. You guys can go golfing. Let me get the man's from here. He was great. He went to Vegas to start something new. In or out?
Yeah, Kevin just goes, do you think he's in or out?
All right, birthdays. What are we, June 4th today? Keith David turned 68 years old. Scott Wolf, 56 years old. Horatio Sands, 55 years old today. Noah Wiley, 53. Angelina Jolie, 49 years old. Wow. Russell Brand, what happened to him? He's 49. I saw Get Him to the Greek and Forgetting Sarah Marshall.
There's a couple canceled people in that movie. Get Him to the Greek.
Yeah. That's out. Bar Raffaelli, 39 years old.
Oh, yeah, I remember that Sports Illustrated.
Maria Bakalova.
Hey, Joe, I got one for you.
Okay.
How about American wrestler, and I've never heard of this guy, Gorilla Monsoon.
Gorilla Monsoon. Him and Bobby the Brain Heenan, one of the greatest tag teams of all time.
Born on this day in 1937.
Yeah, he was an awesome wrestler.
Kevin is making fun of me for not knowing
awesome
who that
wrestler.
is.
Him and Bobby the Brain, they were like before Jim Ross. Remember Jim Ross and Jerry the King?
Oh, yeah.
Well, it was Gorilla and the Brain for all those years. But yes, and I believe Gorilla Monsoon, what was his real name? Oh, why am I blanking on this? Santino. Or Morella, sorry. They named Santino Morella after Gorilla Monsoon. And they also named Virgil, if you remember him, who died recently. After
This has become...
It's like reading obituaries every day. Who's dead? Who's canceled? That could be a bit.
I like that.
We can work on that. I want more raps. Oh, I do the songs of summer. Maybe we can
do the raps of summer.
Maybe. I like that Sexy Red the other day. That was good. You know. I don't know if you know who that is, Mark. And who was the other rapper that we?
Well, you're Cardi Joe.
Cardi Joe. That's right. Anyways, Mark Feldman's back, everybody. Our equipment's not. But we're getting through it, everybody. 1 hour to go. I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
From the Town Fair Tire Studios, the road to Banner 18. This is the flagship station of the Boston Celtics.
The Boston Celtics swarm the floor.
WBZ-FM and HD Boston 98.5 The Sports Hub. The Leslie Media Group station. Sports Hub headlines.
Red Sox lose 7-3 tonight to the Braves. They'll see Chris Sale. Tomorrow, Patriots had their OTAs. Drake May threw more passes than Bailey Zappi today. Christian McCaffrey got an extension with the 49ers. He's going to make $19 million per year. And, of course, Kristaps Porzingis will be back for the Celtics when they take on Dallas in Game 1 of the NBA Finals on Thursday night. Headlines are brought to you by Safety Insurance, providing comprehensive coverage for your auto, home, and business. Ask your independent agent about safety. I'm Joe Murray. Your next update in 30 minutes.
Boston's best sports talk. There's an app for that. Download the Sports Hub app for loads of stuff. Absolutely free. Connect with the shows, get podcasts, and more. Get it where you get your apps. Or at 985sportshub.com.
I kind of missed this because we were talking for a while. People ask me, Joe, who's that you're talking to? Why do I know that voice? Who is that you're talking to? That was Mark Feldman, everybody. DJ Tully, I'm sitting here ripping the bong, and I am so lost. What just happened? I'm so confused. What happened? Melissa checking in from the morning show. Hoda is on the Today Show currently. That's who Hoda was. Yes, I do that. I was close. I said Regis. Is that... No, he's not with us anymore, right? I hope I didn't just kill Regis. I think he's been gone, right? For a while. Anyways, more tweets here. Who are you talking with? Again, that is Mark Feldman, everybody. And people love the Troop mentions. Oh, let me tell you, Joe, it's the manager. Once Hardy left that show, it was me and Troop. I learned a lot. He was my manager. That's why when I saw you today, I go, I ain't shining shoes no more. Maybe you didn't heard. You know?
Yeah, man, you're big time now.
Nah, I don't know if I'm big time. I'm the night guy here. They've gone through a couple now.
From what I heard, your ratings are pretty good.
Oh. It's the younger generation.
No,
that
yes.
that 18. See, all they care about is 25 to 54, which is good.
Mm-hmm.
But that 18 to 49, let me tell you.
It looked good. I don't know what to tell you.
They'll love the limoncello.
Yeah.
So is it just a drink? Like how else is it? Can I get it like in a pastry form? Like how else can I get this?
Yeah. So when COVID hit, we decided to start an online bakery, which is like
let's just start a bakery.
I don't know anything about baking.
I have a buddy who made a ice cream company and it's thriving.
There you go.
My buddy Churn & Co. does an outstanding job.
I didn't know anything about baking. We did it. And you know what's funny is actually Hoda. Hoda tried it. We got it on the morning show, and
Hoda tried your limoncello.
Hoda effing tried it, and Laura Bush was on the show that day, so they both tried. It was like very surreal moment in my life because I went from here to
the Today Show.
To the Today Show
with your limoncello
and cookies. I was like, what's happening right now?
Yeah.
So
you went from slinging beets to slinging
cookies,
bakeries,
yes,
cookies.
and lemons from Italy.
Wow! So that's how you get them.
Yes.
Do you have a connection out there?
Yeah, I'll give you 20% off. Code
Joe. No, for real. You have a connection.
That's a good code right there, Joe.
Yeah. Promo code Joe works a lot.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. The name's a little long, so I shortened it a little bit. It's like, oh my goodness.
What part of the land?
I'm sorry?
What part of Italy? Like, what are we talking about?
In Syracuse.
Have you been to?
I personally have not,
Okay.
but the owners went and found a grove out there, and that's where we source all our lemons from.
Well, I'm interested. I would like to try some. Can I go online and buy them?
Yes, it's the name's a little long, so that's why I'm trying to think of a quicker one. But it's Fabrizia Lemon Baking Company.
Fabrizia
LemonBakingCompany.com.
Baking Company. There it is. I got it. I'm going to tweet it out.
Sweet, I appreciate it. I'll. That's not what I'm here for.
I know.
Okay,
but listen,
just to be clear, all the bosses that are listening,
we're very supportive.
Okay, I appreciate it.
I got it right here.
Thank you.
I might have to get to the cookies.
Yes.
Oh, it's won awards.
Dude, you all right there?
I get excited.
It's like you're watching Twitter porn or something.
I get excited. What can I tell you?
I mean, I love cookies too.
Let's take a couple of calls because people want to talk to us. Let's do Timmy and Bill Ricca. Hey, Timmy.
Hey, Joe. How you doing? Huge fan. I just wanted to get your thoughts on the UFC this past weekend. Sean Strickland and Dustin Poirier.
Yeah, Poirier out, man. I don't know. I wonder if he's going to retire. What do you think?
Yeah, I think a good chance that he's done. The Sean Strickland fight was pretty good, too. What'd you think of that
Well,
one?
I always bet the underdogs, bro. Like, especially in the undercard. I think I'm more curious about what's going to happen at 303 when McGregor's out. Is now Chandler going to get another opponent?
Well, is he out officially, Connor, or was it just they canceled his Dublin press conference?
I think they canceled it, but I don't know, man. Like, Tyson has an ulcer, and this guy had a setback, and I feel like we can't depend on him now.
Oh, God, that would suck. Yeah, you're right.
Yep, he was good in that movie, though, Roadhouse. Even though Roadhouse
yes, he was.
I didn't like
yes,
Roadhouse.
He was,
but he was good.
He was good in that. He was pretty crazy. Well, thank you for your time,
Thanks,
Joe.
Timmy.
Always a fan.
Appreciate
See you later.
All right, bye. All right. Paul's in Connecticut. Paul.
Hey, Joe. What's up, man?
Is this Einbein?
Shout out to the YouTube/Twitch fam again. I just want to ask. The only reason I'm calling, I want to ask about your hat. I want it.
Just sitting here. A fellow named Craig with a K made it. He was a part of the morning show, like a fan, when I was on the morning show.
No, man, I need one because I just sit here too.
You know what? I think I can help you out with that.
And then you can sign my leg when you come give it to me.
Yes. Mark Feldman, if you're just joining us, the fellow on the line here, Paul, his name is, he has one leg.
Oh, is this the farting leg guy?
Yes!
Dude, we gotta put a song together with the
famous
farts.
man.
Yes, you are the farting one-legged man.
Yes. I was trying to record it today because it was hot out, and when I was walking my dog, it was farting like crazy, but I couldn't get it to record correctly on my phone. So sorry. I'll do it.
Maybe we can make a beat.
I'll get it to you.
Maybe we can make a beat of his farting leg.
That's what I'm saying. If we could just get a couple of farts,
thanks, Paul.
We could put something together.
Yeah, just one of those block rockin' beats.
Yeah, I mean it could be any. We could do any genre.
I like it. Andrew's in New Hampshire. Hey, Andrew.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Hey.
So I just have a funny. You brought up the mom ride earlier.
Yeah. Jordan's Furniture, Avon.
Yeah, and the Avon, right?
Yeah.
The original. I went there when I was 7 years old. My mom. I'm not really scared of rides anymore. I guess she took me on the ride, and place passed like a movie theater. That's probably 1996.
Yeah, I was there.
And off the ride. Bring me out, and they wouldn't let my mom go off the ride. They brought me down, and they gave me the Dippin' Dots after. Remember that?
Yes,
for free. But they did it for free. They were just like, this kid's traumatized. We're gonna give him Dippin' Dots. I was like, but yeah, I don't know.
What do you think it was? Because I went on the mom ride and I wasn't thrilled. I needed like
it was like the cop car thing, and you're going down the street, and I don't know. I remember it vividly, not that vividly.
So
that's what I'm saying.
we used to have a carnival at my school growing up, Sacred Heart, and they had this ride that at Canopy Lake, it's the Turkish Twist, but at some of these other places, it was called the Gravitron. And you would just get up against this like leather wall, and it would spin in circles, and you would just be stuck to the wall because it's going so fast. But the Turkish Twist is way worse. The floor falls out. You can't breathe.
I've been on all of them, and one of them I've actually seen someone I never got sick on a ride, thank God. Yeah. But I've seen someone like puke on one of those.
Only time
before, on the Turkish Twist.
I've never seen anyone puke in person at a carnival. But I do remember the Sandlot. Remember when they all dipped? They all put, they all put a lip in, and then they all yacked.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Anyways, that's all I got,
classic. Man. All right. Thank you, man.
All right, buddy. Cool.
You're the best.
Yeah, you are. Well, welcoming Mark Feldman back into the mix here. Everyone wants to talk to you.
No one knows who I am.
Well,
JP
and NP, what's up?
The mothership is back, Mark.
That's right,
Feldman.
baby. The mothership
Where's
is
Chucky
connected.
Perks? Let's see how old Johnny Scrawny is and Homer Joe. Feldman is back on the station at night.
That's
the last time the Bruins won the cup, 2011. Right. Maybe you can bring some good luck back, Feldman.
Right, and then TNR would always make fun of it as I'm a white kid from the suburbs.
Yes.
Classic. I mean,
God.
If you're a Sports Hub listener, these are all
this is P1 stuff.
Dude, this is all legendary stuff right here. I appreciate
Joe Murray, before the Murray Fryer, it was Chucky Perks' grill in the driveway, shoveling his driveway in the winter to grill.
That's right, baby.
I love Chuck.
Outstanding, Joe. We're going to have some more fun at night.
That's right. That's what we do here. We're different than every show. This is, but I want it to be this way.
Absolutely, Joe. Hey, look at Sunday's Joe show. We love it, Joe. Feldman, good luck. Great having you back.
I appreciate it, man.
I met JP. So JP, I will tell you this. He's gone. I'll tell you this. I expected JP to be like a big Italian man. Like I was thinking 6'1", 240, pinky ring.
Yeah, I can see that.
5'8", 140. Beautiful hair.
Beautiful head of hair.
Yep. And looks like Hamlin. What's his name? Henry Hamlin? Is that his name? Looks like him. He thought I was much skinnier than he thought, which I took as a compliment.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough with radio.
It does happen. I do meet people, and they're like, well, you're way bigger than I thought. Well, yeah, man, I'm 6'3", over 300 pounds. Under 400.
Dude, I honestly can't even tell. Like, you look tremendous.
Thank you. You look great. You haven't changed a bit, though.
I definitely gained some...
What's that lemon?
breast.
It's the limoncello.
Yeah, 100%. And the 3 kids.
Do they like the limoncello?
Yep.
Are they like, where are my cookies?
Yes, they always ask for the cookies. And I'm like, kids, just shut the F up. Like, enough. You're not getting any more cookies. Daddy's got to work.
All right, Daddy, go back to work. We're late. By the way,
that's what my wife says, though.
Usually, because we're teaching Mark, we're getting him back up to speed.
Yes.
Normally, I'm at break at this point, but
okay, yes,
because of your return, we allowed this.
100% as the participating producer tonight.
Associate,
I let that happen.
No, it's good.
Okay, cool.
We know. We're going to go to break. He's Mark Feldman, everybody. I'm Joe Murray on 98.5 The Sports Hub.
More Joe Murray coming up on The Sports Hub.
Ruining your career is over money. So much little money, too. Marcano bet more than $150,000 and won only 4.3% of his bets. I don't want to do the math. 4 goes into 15. Let's see, that's 3 times. So he lost a lot. Kelly bet a total of $99. Groom, formerly of the Red Sox, bet $453 and had a loss of $433. It wasn't worth it. Rodriguez bet $749. Salfrank bet $445. And I wanted to come up with a list of worst gamblers of all time. So this is where I'm at right now. I don't know the order yet. I got to work on it. I have Ipe Mazahara, Shohei Ohtani's interpreter. I got Tupa Capita Marcano, Phil Mickelson. Antoine Walker's on that list. I'm sorry. He on that list. Charles Barkley. He likes to gamble. John Daly likes to gamble. Pete Rose. Oh, did he lie? He's still gambling. Jante Porter is out of the league. See ya. Out. I added Michael Jordan to the list. I added Shohei Ohtani to my list as well. And I just feel like Ohtani, well, we haven't seen his name on the list yet. So he's not out of the woods in this one. But I thought it was a pretty interesting list. And I wondered if Rick Tocchet was one that I missed. And I'm trying to think of some others. But, man, these guys who get caught, is it worth it? No, you've already hit the lottery. So what are you doing? 617-779-0985. I'm Joe Murray. We got our final headline of the night, and then we'll preview Celtics-Mavs Game 1 Thursday night. I'm Joe Murray here on the Sports Hub.
Sports Hub headlines.
All right, Red Sox lost 7-3 tonight. They're back at it tomorrow. They'll take on Chris Sale and the Atlanta Braves. Patriots had OTAs today. Bailey Zappi, he was behind Drake May today. Also, Christian McCaffrey in a contract extension with the 49ers. $19 million per year. That's a lot of money for a running back, but he's good. And Celtics expecting Kristaps Porzingis back. Game 1, Thursday, right here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Headlines are brought to you by Valvoline Instant Oil Change. Enjoy quick and convenient vehicle maintenance this month. Visit NewEnglandOilChange.com for 15% off your next drive-through oil change at Valvoline Instant Oil Change, now open in Franklin, Billerica, and Peabody.
it will be way more, violent towards Kyrie Irving in Boston, no doubt. But don't get it twisted. They do not like Porzingis in Dallas. Luka.
So you can speak to that.
Luka did not like playing with him. There is an actual beef there where it's going to be every time he touches the ball, he's getting booed.
Really?
And
there's a real beef there. Why?
Is that a scoop? No, I think that's known. I think it's known. It didn't work out. And Dallas, for whatever reason, those fans, they're proudful. They're like, if you're hurt, if you're not playing, if you're not doing what you were doing the years before you got to the Mavs, they don't like it. And
I feel like we don't know this because it wasn't loud like the Kyrie.
Well, it wasn't Kyrie stuff because again, like Lou just said, Porzingis is not Kyrie Irving, but there is a situation here. And I remember even when I would leave teams in the regular season, when you go back and play that team, you want to prove something. You want to show them what they're missing. The game has more juice to it. Now we're talking about the NBA Finals, and this is how it's matching up. So, yeah, I think there definitely is more motivation for both these players. It'll definitely be more gnarly in Boston for Kyrie Irving, but I guarantee you Porzingis gets booed every time he touches it.
Really?
Yes.
All right, back here 98.5 The Sports Hub. I'm Joe Murray. The old storylines for the NBA Finals. Of course, everyone's going to talk about Kyrie Irving coming back to Boston. But Kristaps Porzingis once played with Luka Doncic and Dallas. It didn't work out. It didn't work out with Jalen Brunson either. But do people say that about Luka Doncic? Oh, they can't play with Luka. Oh, Luka's a problem. Nobody can win with him. I just thought it was interesting. That was Chandler Parsons, former Maverick. I think he played for the Rockets too, whatever. He says that Dallas hates Kristaps Porzingis. Now, I can tell you that I've heard both Kristaps Porzingis and Luka Doncic on the record say that they do not dislike each other at all. They said that they actually have a great relationship. It was just on the court it didn't work out. Isn't that fine to say? Hey, man, we worked together. We tried it out. It didn't work. But as far as off the court goes, though, it sounds like they had a great relationship. I mean, doesn't Porzingis have a great relationship with everybody? Look at his relationship with Jaylen Brown, right? He went with Jaylen Brown back to his high school and went with him, and they become really good friends. But there is something like here's my questions, guys. To the Dallas Mavericks fans, will they get on Porzingis? I'm not saying like Kyrie, but are they going to have the boos out for Porzingis?
Yeah, I'm sure somewhat, but I don't think it's like I don't know. When you think of Porzingis, do you think of him as like a Dallas Maverick? Like, not really.
I don't think of him as Washington.
I don't really think of him as he's kind of a journeyman. That's kind of what he is.
Journeyman, big.
Yeah.
Who's always hurt.
Who's very good when he's healthy.
Joined a team this year that was already good.
But I'm trying to think of like a comparable one, like
Gronk.
No. I'm saying for like a return. Like was Chauncey Billups like booed when he came here as a Piston? Like I don't remember that really. Or like I know we drafted him, so it's a little different. But I'm just trying to think of guys like similar.
Al Jefferson.
Yeah. No. Well, you got
people
Garnett,
are more.
so.
People are like, yeah, Al!
Exactly. Yeah. Thank you.
Woo! Thank you, Al. Woo! That's a good one. I mean, Isaiah Thomas wanted his tribute video. Is there another person that's come back and been booed? Ray Allen?
Yeah, that's a little different. Well, maybe if Porzingis went to the Nuggets or like a team standing directly in Dallas's way, that's a little different. But he also went somewhere else, in between. It's not like he went straight from the Mavs to the Celtics. So, I feel like that's part of it, too.
I feel like the Wizards' backcourt is playing in the finals. Sorry, their front court. Gafford and Porzingis were the 4 and the 5 last year on Washington.
And Bradley Beal, their best player, was out pretty quickly.
Yeah, he said, I'm going to Phoenix.
How'd that work out?
How did that work out? The Jason Kidd angle, though, I won't forget it. I'll keep bringing it up if no one else will. I'm going to find the story. You know what? I feel like I should reach out to Bob Ryan. but Jason Kidd, 2002. Look it up, everybody. What happened to Jason Kidd in Boston in 2022 during the Eastern Conference Finals? And there was an incident, and Bob Ryan was not a fan of Jason Kidd's child. Also, there was an incident with Kidd and his wife. It went public. I mean, I'm sure there's probably some other storylines when it comes to it. And remember, everybody was so bored of the Celtics that all they could do was look at their superstars and say, wow, look how boring they are. Right? Trying to poke holes. And Joe Mazzulla didn't like that. You know, he went back at him today, I guess. I just don't like what the national media says because they don't do their research. I just want to restate my stance. It's not because they're talking about a Celtic. Nope. It's because they haven't done their research. But is there something? Going back to Dallas, Porzingis. And Scott, if you can play the clip real quick. It's from today. They asked him about, is he 100% or what type of percentage is he at? I've been thinking about this. Kyrie Irving talked a lot about his time in Boston and mentioned his rehab or some of the things that he was asked to do. And I'll always question the Celtics medical staff. And I know it's new now. I know it's new. And this year, they did a damn good job of keeping guys healthy. They really did. They did a phenomenal job. And unfortunately, one thing happened with Porzingis. But I wonder if he's out there because he feels right. And this was his response today regarding the status of his health.
Kristaps, is it a pain threshold thing? Are you running pain-free at this point?
Yes.
Okay. And your relationship with Luka, it seemed to work. You guys seemed like close off the floor. It didn't work as much on the floor. Can you kind of summarize those 2.5 years? Was it frustrating? You're coming from New York. You wanted a fresh start. You wanted to kind of make a splash, and it kind of didn't work out there. Can you kind of summarize those 2.5 years?
I don't know if I want to obviously, it didn't work out. And I think it was, once the trade happened. I don't know. I don't want to go. I'm not even thinking about that right now. You know what I mean? I'm focused on the job ahead, and we can talk about that later, brother.
Huh. I heard this earlier today. It sounds different now that I'm hearing it again. A little pregnant pause in there, Skess. Are you not feeling any pain in your foot?
Kristaps, is it a pain threshold thing? Are you running pain-free at this point?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Yes.
10!
Okay.
That's what you call a pregnant pause.
Does that give you pause about Porzingis' health?
Yep. I don't expect him to be pain-free. I don't expect anybody to be pain-free at this time of year.
What do you expect from Porzingis in Game 1?
This is why I bring up the bench. This is why I bring it up. Let the starting five continue to do what they do. When you have matchup problems or you need size, you go to Porzingis. The other thing is this. We know when Tatum's on the bench, that's when the Celtics struggle the most. Is it worth sliding over Porzingis, put Al at the 4, and trying to have offense that way? Because think about it. You're going to be spaced with two bigs and Jaylen Brown with the basketball. If you're going to put Gafford and Lively on the floor, to use a word by Cerrone Battle, barbecue chicken. two bigs spread, it's going to leave the middle wide open. I almost like the strategy of Porzingis off the bench instead of starting. Maybe you try it in game one and see what happens. I do agree, though, starting him and playing with the talent that he's with, it makes them a different team. So if they start him, great. I'm just throwing in a different wrench in there. Adding a little something to the toolbox. Be a different look. So what am I expecting out of Porzingis? Length, right? Rim protection, knocking down shots when open. That's what I'm looking for. Maybe some passes in the post. Anyways, we'll wrap this show up here on the other side. And we got one more night. One more night. Just one more night. Oh, one more night. 'Cause I can't wait forever. We got to go to break. I'm Joe Murray here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. Our show before the NBA Finals. So to let you know what's going to happen on Thursday, there's going to be an exclusive show. Big Jim Murray and Gasper will take you until from 6 to 7:30, so no baseball hour. I'll have you on the network and right here on the flagship 98.5 The Sports Hub in the pregame show. Then Grady and Max will take over from there, and we'll be on until 1 a.m. every night here on 98.5 The Sports Hub. So we'll have extensive coverage. I'll be here during the week. I believe Sean Silver will be here over the weekend as well. So we got extensive coverage beginning Thursday. No baseball hour in the night of games. And then I'll be on until 1 a.m. and we'll be on YouTube. So feel free to hang out with us there. One name we missed coming back, J.D. Drew. Guy was hurt all the time, but made a big home run, grand slam to be exact, in a World Series. All right. Thanks, James Scaramuzzino, for an excellent night tonight. It was chaos over here.